Chapter 734. Xiaochen happened to hear Li Xianer's words. He was speechless. How could she be an immortal to catch ghosts with her mediocre skills? Fortunately, the ghost didn't mean to hurt people. She just wanted to tease everyone. Even Li Xianer was teased. In the end, she didn't do anything to her. If it were an ordinary person, they would have been scared to death. Although Li Xianer was a little timid, she was fine. Then when can we catch this female ghost? The property staff asked anxiously. Immortal, you also know that this female ghost has affected the normal lives of the residents. I will try my best. Don't worry. I will take measures to chase and intercept her today. Li Xianer sighed. I don't have enough spiritual power now. If I could fly on a sword, I would be able to catch up with her. Ah, is there really a legendary flying sword? The property staff was shocked after hearing this. Immortals sect is really powerful. Those who can fly are the legendary immortals, right? Yes, she can really fly. The other property owners also sighed when they heard this, but they were more confident in Li Xianer. They felt that it was only a matter of time before she subdued the female ghost. As for Xiaochen, he was very shocked. Flying on a sword, isn't that a skill of cultivators? Is this Li Xianer also a cultivator? Is it true? Could she really be the successor of some ancient sect? However, there were too many people now. It was not appropriate for him to ask in detail. He just stood aside and listened quietly. Although Li Xianer failed to catch the ghost yesterday, the property owners were suddenly full of confidence after hearing a few words from her. Those who could fly on a sword were the legendary immortals that could only be seen on TV. Now, even if Li Xianer had not reached that level, she was still the successor of an immortal sect. She must have a way to subdue the demon. Li Xianer went to rest, and Xiaochen returned to Su Chuxia's house. At this time, Tian Wangchuan also woke up and was washing up. When he saw Xiaochen, he asked, Honey, how is it? Did you catch the ghost? No, that Li Xianer is not very reliable. Let's not care about her, and let her do whatever she wants. Xiaochen saw that Li Xianer was fine today, and he was sure that the ghost didn't mean to hurt her, so he didn't worry anymore. He didn't even bother to look at it tonight, and let her catch it herself. When Su Chuxia and Tian Souring heard this, they knew that Li Xianer was in trouble. Tian Souring, on the other hand, was very happy. Haha, that Wu Lixing who asked me for a house is probably regretting it now. Tian Wangshou's words were not false at all. Wu Lixing was really in a dilemma at this moment. He originally thought that the immortal master hired by the property management company was very powerful and could capture the ghost with just one move. But after waiting for a day, there was no result. The next morning, the ghost was not caught. Instead, Li Xianer's hair was disheveled and she looked very miserable. Although Li Xianer's words were full of confidence, and the other property owners believed her, Wu Lixing's heart was very gloomy. In his line of work, he often encountered haunted houses. Some of his friends introduced experts to do the job, but very few of them were effective. In the end, they all failed. If haunted houses were really that easy to crack, people like him who specialized in real estate would be rich. Therefore, he was very worried about Li Xianer's final result. He didn't rush Tian Wangshou that day, and he planned to wait and see tomorrow. Nothing out of the ordinary happened that day. Xiaochen played video games with the two beauties at home. Su Chuxia was an electronics enthusiast, so she had the latest gaming console at home. The three of them had a lot of fun playing games. At night, Xiaochen cooked some food. He didn't go out, and the two girls went to bed early. Xiaochen sat on the sofa and heard the sound of the elevator coming from the corridor outside. He thought that Li Xianer was working again. In the end, the sound continued until the second half of the night. The elevator went back and forth, but there seemed to be no result. If the ghost was caught, the elevator would stop running. Finally, when it was almost midnight, Xiaochen suddenly heard a hurried knocking on the door. It gave him a fright. The lights in Su Chuxia and Tian Wangshou's room were also turned on. Obviously, they had been woken up. Who is it? Xiaochen walked over and asked. Open the door. It's me, Li Xianer. Let me hide. It was indeed Li Xianer's voice outside the door, but it was a little different. It seemed like she was in a state of extreme fear. Xiaochen opened the door. He seemed to feel something chasing behind Li Xianer, But it stopped for a moment. Xiao Chun frowned and looked into the distance, but he didn't see anything. The ghost must have retreated. Li Xianer, what are you doing? It's the middle of the night. Xiao Chun let her in. As soon as Li Xianer came in, she couldn't care less about her image. She sat on the ground and panted heavily. The ghost is very powerful. Her power is higher than mine. My methods didn't work on her. Instead, it angered her. At first, I was chasing her, but now she is chasing me. Li Xianer said hurriedly. I didn't expect there to be such a powerful ghost. I've never encountered one before. You've caught ghosts before? Xiao Chun was slightly stunned. Looking at her coarse appearance, she didn't seem like a powerful person. Yes, but they are all little ghosts that haven't turned into humans. They are wandering ghosts. Li Xianer said. Those are easier to deal with, but this female ghost has already formed her own will. I'm no match for her. Xiao Chun was a little speechless. The kind that Li Xianer was talking about should be a very low-level primordial spirit. In fact, cultivators didn't have primordial spirits. Other people or animals also had primordial spirits. However, this primordial spirit wasn't called a primordial spirit, but a soul. After a person or an animal died, if there was an obsession, it could not dissipate for a long time. However, it would not cause any harm to the person. It would only affect the person's brain waves and create some illusions. This kind of soul was very easy to deal with. However, those primordial spirits that had formed their own will were not so easy to deal with. However, this kind of situation was rare. It's still my Dao technique that's not good enough. I have to hurry up and cultivate. Li Xianer clenched her fists. One day, I must subdue this female ghost. I wish you success. Xiao Chun didn't say too much and just wished her well. Oh right, don't tell Xiao Xiao about my identity. Oh right, you can't tell her that you're her boyfriend. But you're flirting with two beautiful girls here. You definitely won't dare to tell her. Li Xianer looked curiously at Su Chuxia and Tian Wangchuan, who came out of the bedroom and yawned. However, you're quite strong to sleep with two of them. I don't think you're from the 5 Elements faction. You're from the 8 Trigrams faction. Xiao Chun rolled his eyes. These two are my friends. They invited me here because of the haunting. Are you thinking too much? Honey, what's wrong? In the middle of the night. Tian Wangchuan walked over while rubbing his eyes in a daze. When Li Xianer heard this, she looked at Xiao Chun with disdain and curled her lips. Although she didn't say it, the meaning was clear. Xiao Chun's lie had been exposed. Xiao Chun really didn't know how to explain. How could it be such a coincidence that he was slapped in the face on the spot? This Tian Wangchuan. Ahem. Xiao Chun coughed twice. Let's not talk about this. I'll keep it a secret for you. Then I'll keep it a secret for you too. This is our little secret. Li Xianer blinked her eyes. Hee okay. Xiao Chun nodded. He could only treat it as a secret. Suddenly, he thought of something and asked. Oh right, you said that you can use sword kinesis flight in the future? Is that true? Of course it's true. Li Xianer nodded solemnly. Although our 5 Elements sect has declined like the other ancient sects, we still have some inheritance. I'm the 82nd generation successor. The mantra I'm practicing now is different from you martial cultivators. I'm cultivating immortality. Really? Xiao Chun was extremely shocked. Why would I lie to you? Li Xianer said proudly. Don't you think I'm very beautiful now? What does it have to do with this? Xiao Chun was stunned. Actually, I wasn't so beautiful before. My skin wasn't so good either. However, after cultivating immortality, my physique has changed greatly. I'll soon surpass Xiao Xiao. Li Xianer was proud. Otherwise, that person wouldn't have come to tease me that day. Xiao Chun didn't know what to say. Li Xianer was really narcissistic. He just asked, since you're so powerful and you're an immortal, why didn't you punish the person who teased you? My strength is still too low, Li Xianer said with some embarrassment. However, the level of immortal cultivators is different from that of martial artists. I'll surpass him in all aspects in the future. Then what's your current level? Xiao Chun asked. I said, you have to keep it a secret because you saved me. I think you're a good person, so I don't want to lie to you. However, you can't tell others about these things. Before I become strong, I'm afraid that someone will harm me. Although Li Xianer was a bit narcissistic, she seemed to trust Xiaochen more. Maybe Xiaochen saved her before. Okay. Xiaochen nodded. Tian Suruan and Su Chuxia only came out to take a look before going back to sleep. They could tell from Li Xianer's expression that she had failed to catch a ghost and was here to seek refuge. They were too tired to ask more questions. Therefore, when Li Xianer said these words, they weren't there. If they were, Li Xianer probably wouldn't have said it. Li Xianer nodded and started to chant the mantra. However, at this moment, Xiaochen was really shocked. This was a familiar aura. Xiaochen had only seen it on that super invincible dog in the universe. First level of qi refinement. Xiaochen looked at Li Xianer in shock. Huh? You know about qi refinement? Li Xianer also looked at Xiaochen in shock. She didn't expect to hear these words from Xiaochen's mouth. Chapter 735. On TV and novels everywhere. Is it strange that I know? Xiaochen also realized that he had said too much, so he shrugged and explained. Oh, no wonder. Li Xianer nodded and said, so you guessed it. Yes. I am an immortal master at the first level of the qi refining stage. My real strength is equivalent to a warrior at the peak of the first level of the inner strength, so I am not a match for that big man. Xiaochen was not thinking about Li Xianer's strength now, but that she was actually a cultivator. Although her strength was low, she was the first cultivator that Xiaochen had met in this world. Whether it was immortal or cultivation, it was just a name. Although Li Xianer's strength was low, she did indeed embark on a different path. So she was not wrong to say that she could fly on a sword. Then what level do you need to be able to fly on a sword? Xiaochen asked. Maybe I need to build my foundation. Li Xianer said. Hey, I'm just saying. Our 5 Elements sect has been passed down for so long, but there is no immortal master who has successfully built his foundation. My master is only an immortal master at the 10th level of the qi refining stage. What? You have a master at the 10th level of the qi refining stage. Xiaochen was shocked. Yes, without a master, how can I cultivate? Do you think it is so easy for mortals to cultivate? Li Xianer looked at Xiaochen strangely. Even if you are a martial artist or a devil cultivator, don't you also have a master? Oh, then what about your master? Xiaochen did not expect that there were other cultivators in this world. And there was more than one. She didn't build her foundation. Her life was over, and she passed away. Li Xianer was a little sad. Master has lived for 300 years. Oh, does she have any fellow disciples from the same sect? What about you? Do you? Xiaochen asked again. No, in our 5 Elements sect there is only one disciple. Li Xianer shook her head. Then she doesn't have a cultivation companion? Xiaochen was relieved, but still asked worriedly. We cultivators are different from other cultivators. We have a long life. How can we find an ordinary person to be our cultivation companion? If the other person dies of old age, it will affect our Taoist foundation and Taoist heart, and it will be difficult to advance. Li Xianer said. So you don't try to seduce me, I won't fall for it. Uffed. When Xiaochen heard the first half of what she said, it seemed to make sense. However, when he heard the second half, he almost knelt down. How did it become him trying to seduce her? Li Xianer was too full of herself. Li Xianer is too much. Don't think I don't know that you're such a playboy. You'll definitely drool over me. Of course, that's not the main point. You've asked so many questions about immortal cultivators. You must want me to teach you immortal cultivation, right? Li Xianer looked at Xiaochen, as if she had seen through him. No need. If I want to fix it, I can fix it myself, Xiaochen said. TSK, you will definitely be tempted. Any normal person will be tempted. You can live for at least 300 years in one go. Li Xianer said. I don't believe that you don't want to. So what if I want to? So what if I don't? You won't teach me anyway. Xiaochen shrugged. I really can't do anything about it. The rule of our 5 Elements sect is that only one disciple can pass down his legacy. I can't teach you that. Li Xianer shook her head. Then do you know? Are there any other cultivators in the world? Xiaochen asked. Of course not. If there was, my master wouldn't have to live alone for the rest of his life. Li Xianer sighed. Sigh, what a waste of my beauty. I can't even find a Tao companion. Xiaochen slapped his forehead. Then you can just randomly pick one. Your master is at the 10th layer of the Qi refinement realm, and you're only at the first layer. You won't be able to live for long. Xiaochen reminded. But I'm only 16 years old. When I'm 60 years old, maybe I'll be at the 10th level. Li Xianer said confidently. At that time, I won't be afraid of this female ghost. At that time, this female ghost will probably be killed by you. Xiaochen was speechless. Nonsense. Li Xianer glanced at Xiaochen. She was quite flirtatious, but Xiaochen didn't dare to look at her for too long. He was afraid that Li Xianer would falsely accuse him of liking her. Will you continue to catch ghosts tomorrow? Xiaochen changed the topic. No, I have to go back. Li Xianer said. Tomorrow, I will talk to the property management company. I can't deal with this female ghost for the time being. Well, I wish you good luck. Set foot in the 10th level of the Qi refining stage as soon as possible. Xiaochen said. Definitely no problem. Li Xianer said. At that time, if you are still alive, I will treat you to a meal. I don't have many friends. You are one of them. Then I am honored. Xiaochen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Yeah, if you didn't save me and I think you are a good person, I wouldn't say this to you. You can't harm me, but it's hard to say for others. One must always be on guard against others. You are my best friend. Li Xianer said. You are the first to know about my matters. By the way, Li Xian, speaking of this, I still have to remind you. Although I saved you, you shouldn't tell me so much. Xiaochen said solemnly. After all, many people will covet the cultivation of immortality. I don't have the intention to harm you, but I can't guarantee that others won't forget about righteousness at the sight of profit. Even if I saved you before, I will kill you the next moment. Ah, Li Xianer was stunned, and then she thought about it. So, don't tell anyone about this matter in the future. As for your identity as a fairy, others won't think much about it. They will only think that you are a fraud. Xiaochen said. You are a fraud. Li Xianer was a little dissatisfied. I am the real deal. However, you are right. I was a little careless before. I won't say it again. Then I am relieved. Xiaochen was actually afraid that the matter of immortality would spread. After all, he was also a cultivator. If it spread, it might be disadvantageous to him. While they were talking, it was already dawn outside. Li Xian also said goodbye and went to the property company to explain the situation. When Li Xian went downstairs, she was surrounded by the staff of the property company who had arrived early. They hurriedly asked, Fairy, how is it? Did you catch the ghost? No. Li Xian shook her head. My spiritual power is still not enough. The other party is too powerful. I am sorry, I can't do anything. The staff of the property company was a little dumbfounded. Li Xian was still very famous in the industry. Many haunted houses had been cracked, and she was highly respected. They didn't expect her to have no way. Did that mean that there was really no way? The onlookers were also disappointed when they heard Li Xianer's words. They thought that it would definitely be done this time. But they didn't expect that even Li Xianer couldn't do anything. Wu Lixing was also among the owners. At this moment his eyelids couldn't help but twitch. After he went back, he also checked on Li Xianer's matter and found that Li Xian was really a powerful mage. She had a good reputation in the industry, so he also had some confidence. He didn't expect that his confidence would be shattered in an instant. Seeing Li Xian get into the car of the property company, Wu Lixing hesitated for a moment and called Tian Wangshuo's phone. Hello, Miss Tian. I am Wu Lixing, said Wu Lixing. Mr. Wu, it's only Sunday. It's not Monday yet, right? Are you in a hurry to take back the house? How could Tian Wangshuo not guess Wu Lixing's thoughts? Li Xianer probably failed, so he didn't want the house anymore. However, she pretended not to know and asked seriously. No. I suddenly remembered that I don't have enough money on hand. I don't want it anymore. I'm telling you that I have already taken the things away. You can take back the house at any time, said Wu Lixing quickly. Oh, you really don't want it anymore? Asked Tian Wangshuo. No. Wu Lixing said affirmatively. Well, then I will go to apply for the property certificate. I can't change it then, Tian Wangshuo reminded him. Okay, no problem. Wu Lixing breathed a sigh of relief. He was afraid that Tian Wangsho would pester him, although he had already sold the house. If Tian Wangsho kept asking to cancel the house, then he would be annoyed. In his opinion, Tian Wangsho must have received the news that the property management company invited Li Xian to exorcise the ghost, so she hoarded a lot of property. In his opinion, it was also opportunistic. However, now that Li Xian had failed, Tian Wangsho had all these houses in her hands. It would be strange if she didn't want to get rid of them as soon as possible. He didn't expect Tian Wangsho to be so happy and agree directly. Shaking his head, he felt that something was wrong, but he couldn't figure out the reason. Wu Lixing took the things and left. In the middle of the night, Xiaoqun went out. He didn't need to observe anymore. Li Xian had already observed for him before. The conclusion was that this female ghost might not be willing to hurt people, so Xiaoqun wouldn't take too drastic measures. He planned to figure it out first. Originally, he wanted to catch it and refine it into a second demon to accompany little demon in. Just like Li Xian, Xiaoqun took the elevator from the first floor. At every floor, he stopped for a moment, then continued to go up. Finally, he reached the top floor. He didn't find anything wrong. Xiaoqun frowned slightly. When Li Xian took the elevator, the female ghost appeared. But he didn't encounter it even once when he took the elevator. He didn't even encounter it normally. Is this female ghost afraid of me? Does she know that I'm powerful? Feeling strange, Xiaoqun decided not to take the elevator. He took the stairs, but this time, he didn't walk around like before. Instead, he stopped at every floor and stopped in front of 2 houses for a while. On the 24th floor, Xiaoqun stopped in front of a door. The corridor was dark, and the peephole of the door mirror on the door was also dark. These 2 houses hadn't been occupied yet. The plastic film on the door had not been torn off, and there were a few overdue notices on the door. Logically, there shouldn't be anyone here, but Xiaoqun felt an extremely gloomy aura. Chapter 736. After listening for a while, he didn't hear any sound, but Xiaoqun's subconscious was very dignified. He felt that there was something wrong here. After thinking about it, he walked forward and started knocking on the door. Dang, dang, dang. However, after knocking for a long time, no one answered, and there was no other movement. If it weren't for Xiaoqun believing in his own perception, he would have left at this time. However, he didn't leave. He knocked for a while, pretending to turn around and leave. However, when he bypassed the corridor, he took out his flying sword and flew back along the ceiling. This angle couldn't be seen from inside the house. His whole body was directly suspended above the anti-theft door. 10 minutes passed, and there was no movement. 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Just when Xiaoqun was wondering if his senses were wrong, he suddenly heard a faint click sound. It was the sound of high heels. Xiaoqun's heart suddenly trembled. There really was a problem. However, he remained calm and didn't act rashly. He continued to show off his wealth silently in the sky. Finally, after a while, the anti-theft door was gently opened. In the darkness, Xiaoqun could still see clearly with the moonlight outside. A woman walked out from inside. The woman's figure was very thin, and the yin energy on her body was very heavy. After she came out, she looked around and didn't see anyone. Then, she carefully closed the door and walked in the direction of the corridor. This woman's figure seemed to be a little familiar to Xiaoqun, but because of the angle, he couldn't see the woman's appearance. However, he quietly followed behind the woman. He flew close to the ceiling without making any sound, so the woman in front of him didn't notice him at all. He saw that the woman came to the door of the elevator and pressed the elevator button. However, she didn't wait for the elevator. Instead, she turned directly into the stairwell and began to go downstairs. Although she was wearing high heels, the woman's speed was very fast. Even when she didn't want to make a sound, there was no sound when she walked. Xiaoqun suspected that the previous sound of high heels was deliberately made by the woman. Her purpose was to make sure that there was no one at the door. This way, if there was movement at the door, she could completely not open the door. Just a sound couldn't prove that there must be someone in the room. It might be another sound. The woman went downstairs and continued to press the elevator button. Then she continued to run downstairs. This made Xiaoqun a little dumbfounded. This woman was like a child playing a prank. It turned out that the elevator automatically operated like this. With her extremely fast figure and speed, she ran down floor by floor. It was probably the same when she came up. She really didn't feel tired at all. Regardless of whether there was anyone or not, running for the whole night was really unbearable. Xiao Chun was flying above her, but she did not notice him at all. Indeed, it was as Xiao Chun had guessed. She started from the first floor and continued to press the elevator button, running up floor by floor. Xiao Chun was impressed by her spirit. Xiao Chun followed her just like that, watching her go up and down to see what she was up to. After doing this for the whole night, regardless of whether there was anyone or not, Xiao Chun was a little tired from flying. Upstairs and downstairs, Xiao Chun followed the woman for a few laps. Suddenly, the woman stopped because she finally found a problem. She also felt that she seemed to be followed by something. After the woman stopped, she suddenly turned around, but she didn't see anything. The woman was a little confused. She looked around again, but she still didn't see anything special. So she breathed a sigh of relief and continued to run upstairs. Xiao Chun was a little puzzled. Why didn't this woman look up? Didn't she know that there might be people flying in the sky? Did she have to follow behind her? However, under normal thinking, it was understandable to think like this. After all, how many people could fly? The woman might have been vigilant in her heart. After running up a floor, she stopped again and turned her head to look back. But she still didn't see anything. The woman seemed to be a little puzzled. She raised her head and thought about something. But when she looked up, she found Xiao Chun floating in the sky. Ah! The woman let out a sharp scream, and was so scared that she fell to the ground. Her face was pale, and she pointed at Xiao Chun, unable to say a word. It seemed that she was very frightened. Xiao Chun was speechless. Is this a female ghost? Why is it that when a ghost sees a human, she is scared to the ground? I say, Nie Xiaoyu, what are you doing? Going up and down in the middle of the night, playing with the elevator endlessly. Are you addicted? Xiao Chun finally recognized who this person was. It turned out to be Nie Xiaoyu, the Yin cultivator who had saved his life before. Ah, who are you? How do you know me? Nie Xiaoyu's eyes widened. At this moment, she also saw clearly what Xiao Chun looked like, but she didn't know him. When she heard that Xiao Chun could call out her name, she was very shocked. Are you kidding me? You are a female ghost. I should be afraid of you. Why do you seem to be afraid of me? Am I that scary? Looking at Nie Xiaoyu's trembling face, Xiao Chun didn't know what to say. It was really a failure for a ghost to be like her. How can you fly? Nie Xiaoyu looked at Xiao Chun in the sky. Her intuition told her that this person in front of her was very powerful, and she was no match for him at all. Nie Xiaoyu, you really don't know me. Xiao Chun frowned and said calmly, Back then, I saved you because of your kindness and didn't kill you. I didn't expect that you would hide here and scare the innocent residents. What are you thinking? Do you think it's fun? Or do you want to hurt people? Ah, you. Nie Xiaoyu was slightly stunned. Then she realized that Xiao Chun's voice was a little familiar. She suddenly remembered. You are my savior? I'm sorry, I didn't recognize you because you weren't wearing a mask. Xiao Chun was wearing a white fox mask, so it was normal that Nie Xiaoyu couldn't recognize him. Alright, let's not talk about useless things. What are you doing? If you don't explain yourself today, don't blame me for not showing mercy. Xiao Chun said coldly as he looked at Nie Xiaoyu. I am sorry. Nie Xiaoyu lowered her head like a child who had done something wrong. She averted her gaze, not daring to look at Xiao Chun directly. She said carefully, I was controlled again. Puffed. Cough cough. Xiao Chun looked at Nie Xiaoyu and almost coughed to death. Are you serious? How did you get controlled again? Didn't I tell you to hide? I didn't want to, but I was too stupid, and my primordial spirit was extracted while I was cultivating. In the end, Nie Xiaoyu said weakly, Tell me what's going on. Xiao Chun sighed and couldn't blame her anymore. After all, her life was in someone else's hands, so it was understandable that she was forced to do something. Moreover, Xiao Chun knew that although Nie Xiaoyu could scare people, she had never really harmed anyone. She was a good ghost, so he didn't attack her directly. Instead, He let her explain the situation. I stayed in Lon City. It turned out that after Nie Xiaoyu stayed in Lon City, she didn't have much money on her and couldn't afford to stay in a hotel for a long time. So, she started looking around the city and found this residential area. Because this community used to be a graveyard, the yin qi was relatively heavy. Nie Xiaoyu planned to cultivate here. She did not dare to go to a crowded place, so she stayed in a group of buildings that had not been built yet. Anyway, she could find a floor with no one and secretly cultivate. Unexpectedly, Nie Xiaoyu's absorption of yin qi for cultivation was discovered by someone. The person who discovered it was the person who controlled Nie Xiaoyu now, Old Ghost of Shishan. This Old Ghost of Shishan was a native of this graveyard. He built a house here and destroyed the graveyard, but this wasn't something he could stop. He could only choose a building with the strongest yin qi to live in, which was Su Chusha's building. This was the center of the entire graveyard, so the yin qi was the strongest. Even so, because of the destruction of the building, the yin qi had decreased a lot. Therefore, there wasn't enough yin qi to use. Nie Xiaoyu suddenly got a share of the yin qi here, which naturally attracted Old Ghost of Shishan's attention. While Nie Xiaoyu was cultivating, he extracted her primordial spirit and made her his subordinate. The task that Old Ghost of Shishan gave Nie Xiaoyu was to find a way to get rid of all the residents in this building. After all, if there were too many people, the yang qi would be stronger, and it would disperse the yin qi. It wasn't easy for Old Ghost of Shishan to find such a good place, so he naturally didn't want to let others destroy it. It just so happened that he caught a helper like Nie Xiaoyu, so he asked her to do it. However, Nie Xiaoyu was still kind-hearted. She didn't want to harm others, so she could only scare the residents in this building to move away, so that Old Ghost of Shishan could cultivate in peace. The house they were living in now was empty, and it hadn't been sold yet. After rumors of this building being haunted spread, no one paid attention to it, so Old Ghost of Shishan lived in it with peace of mind. Although Nie Xiaoyu was a yin cultivator, she was also a kind of cultivator. She could also sense danger. Xiao Chun was very powerful, and so was in Xiaoma. So when they appeared, Nie Xiaoyu would avoid them. In the past few days, she had felt that something was wrong. However, because Xiao Chun didn't attack her, and it was only Li Xiener who attacked, Nie Xiaoyu had the illusion that Xiao Chun wouldn't attack her, so she came out to take action. Unexpectedly, she was caught by Xiao Chun. "Lead the way," Xiao Chun said lightly. Lead the way." Nie Xiaoyu was stunned and said, "Lead the way for what?" "Take me to find that Old Ghost of Shishan and kill him. Take back your spirit, and then I'll help you buy a house here. You can cultivate slowly, and don't get caught again. You're really worrying." Xiao Chun was a little speechless, but since he had encountered it, he couldn't ignore it. After all, Nie Xiaoyu was a very good person. Even if it was for Shen Jingshuan's sake, he couldn't ignore it. Shen Jingxian had asked Xiao Chun to save her. One day, if Shen Jingxian came back and asked about Nie Xiaoyu's whereabouts, it would be easy for him to explain. Chapter 737. "Ah, really? That's great. Thank you so much." Nie Xiaoyu was overjoyed. "You're really a good person. Just be careful in the future." Xiao Chun smiled bitterly. "How about this? I'll leave you my phone number. If you get caught again, call me secretly, and I'll think of a way to save you." Xiao Chun couldn't do anything about a stupid ghost cultivator like Nie Xiaoyu. However, since she was so easily caught, Xiao Chun might as well help her deal with a few bad guys. Nie Xiaoyu nodded and suddenly thought of something. "By the way, Shishan Old Ghost is very powerful. He's different from the previous Shishan Old Corpse. He's now a martial master evil cultivator at the peak of the 10th level. He's very powerful." "Oh, only the peak of the 10th level?" Xiao Chun nodded. Nie Xiaoyu was taken aback. However, looking at Xiao Chun who was flying on the sword, she immediately stopped worrying. It turned out that Xiao Chun was so powerful now. The last time she saw him, he was barely on par with the Shishan Old Corpse, but now it seemed that he had advanced again. The two of them returned to the previous door. Nie Xiaoyu took out the key and opened the door. Suddenly, a hoarse voice came from inside. Why are you back so early today? Didn't that bullsh Astor's tea fairy leave? I didn't have anyone, so I came back first. Nie Xiaoyu said carefully. Oh, the hoarse voice responded and suddenly shouted. Who? Who did you bring back? Shishan old ghost? I'm here to get rid of you. Come out and die. Xiaochen said jokingly. He didn't expect this guy to be so sensitive. He immediately sensed that there was a stranger here. Shameless boasting. A black shadow flashed out of the inner room. You can control Nie Xiaoyu, that little trash with the 6th level of inner force. There's nothing to be proud of. In front of me, you can only die. Oh, let me ask you, why are you all called Shishan Old X? Xiao Chen ignored the black shadow and asked. Are you from the Shishan family? Are you all in cahoots? Humph, a dead man doesn't need to know these things. The black shadow sneered. His whole body was shrouded in black fog, and he swept toward Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen patted the scabbard. The flying sword stepped on the ground and floated in the air. The shadow did not touch Xiao Chen at all. Xiao Chen knew that the black mist on these evil cultivators was highly toxic and corrosive. Xiao Chen did not dare to touch it. Not bad. A Taoist expert? You can already use sword kinesis flight? Old Ghost Shishan was clearly more knowledgeable. Are you here to avenge the female Taoist nun from yesterday? It has nothing to do with you. Answer my question first, Xiao Chen said. You're about to die, yet you still have so much to say. I really don't know how you can be so open-minded. Old Ghost Shishan laughed loudly and snorted. Oh, you're not going to say it? Xiao Chen really couldn't do anything to this old Ghost Shishan. He didn't say that he would burn him to death, so she didn't use her full strength. Now answer the question, Xiao Chen said. Oh. Well, West Mountain is a place. Its full name is West Star Mountain. It's a gathering place for some evil cultivators. Because of the rich heaven and earth spirit energy there, there's an ancient abandoned cave abode. Therefore, it was occupied by the Evil Cultivator Alliance. Old Ghost Shishan quickly replied. Oh, so you're a member of the Evil Cultivator Alliance? Xiao Chen asked. Yes, the evil cultivators in our Evil Cultivator Alliance are all called Shishan or something. The addition of the word old is just to prove that we're old. However, because the overbearing words like old demon, old ghost, and old corpse have been used, some people are called West Mountain Evil Ghost, West Mountain Evil Ghost, and so on. Old Ghost Shishan said. Actually, the benefit of joining this alliance is to hold a summit every year, and then distribute some cultivation resources. There's no other use. If that's the case, then your value isn't that great, Xiao Chen said after listening. Don't. It's very, very valuable. If I become the backbone of the Evil Cultivator Alliance, I can help Taoist priests gather information. Taoist priest wants to destroy our Evil Cultivator Alliance, right? Old Ghost Shishan quickly said. What does that have to do with me? Xiao Chen was speechless. I'm just curious. Didn't you guys unite to suppress the evil cultivators? Old Ghost Shishan was stunned. I don't have that much free time. Xiao Chen waved his hand. Well, I'll refine a ghost talisman devil for you to survive. However, I don't need you for the time being. You can stay here and be Nie Xiaoyu's bodyguard. Okay. When Old Ghost Shishan heard that he didn't have to die, he nodded repeatedly. Although refining a ghost talisman devil meant losing his freedom, it was still better than death. Xiaoyu, help me prepare some materials. It's still dark now, so we can go out, Xiao Chen said to Nie Xiaoyu. Okay. Nie Xiaoyu nodded quickly. Xiao Chen listed some things, and Nie Xiaoyu went out. Old Ghost Shishan sat on the ground with a depressed face. He knew that he was no match for Xiao Chen. As long as Xiao Chen used the fire of the underworld, he would die without a burial place. Therefore, although he was very unwilling, he had no other choice. He could only stabilize Xiao Chen first, and see if he could turn against him in the future when he became stronger. Anyway, the ghost talisman devil could be broken. Nie Xiaoyu came back soon. Obviously, she always helped Old Ghost Shishan buy some cultivation materials, so she had her own purchase channels. This time, Xiao Chen didn't even bother to use the Samadhi True Fire. He directly asked Nethery to refine Old Ghost Shishan into the second ghost talisman devil. Because Nethery was there, he was ranked third. so Xiao Chun gave him the nickname Little Ghost. Little Ghost. Xiao Chun glanced at Old Ghost Shishan. Master, please tell me. Old Ghost Shishan looked like a slave, but in his heart, he was cursing Xiao Chun. He secretly swore that one day, he must kill Xiao Chun and take revenge. Old Ghost Shishan, was a very famous figure among the evil cultivators, but today he was defeated so badly. You stay here. Don't let Nie Xiaoyu's primordial spirit be captured again. Do you hear me? Xiao Chun ordered. Understood. Old Ghost Shishan nodded quickly. The yin qi here can be used for her cultivation, and the cultivation resources should be given to her first. Understand? Xiao Chun continued. Understood. Although Old Ghost Shishan was unwilling, he didn't dare to disobey. Okay, then I'm leaving, Xiao Chun said. Don't scare people anymore. Yes, yes. Old Ghost Shishan sent Xiao Chun away respectfully, gritting his teeth. When he turned his head and saw Nie Xiaoyu, he was shocked. Senior Old Ghost, what's wrong? Nie Xiaoyu looked at him strangely. I have a toothache, but it's nothing. Old Ghost Shishan was not sure about the relationship between Nie Xiaoyu and Xiao Chun. If the two of them were close, then his every move would fall into Xiao Chun's eyes. If that happened, he would be dead. Also, call me Little Ghost from now on. I'm your subordinate now. Oh. Nie Xiaoyu was not used to it. When Xiao Chun returned to Su Chuxia's residence, the sky was already bright, and they had also woken up. When they saw Xiao Chun coming back, they immediately asked, Xiao Chong, where did you go? Did you go to catch ghosts? Chapter 738. And it's fine. There won't be any more ghosts in the future. Xiao Chun nodded. However, we might not be able to see the results in a short period of time. Sour. Go talk to the open market, and buy the rest of the houses that haven't been sold yet. However, don't sell the house in 3102 after you buy it. It's occupied. Don't tell me it's for a ghost. Tian Saori was stunned. Saori, will you die if you don't scare people? Su Chuxia glared at her and said angrily. It's really for a ghost. However, that ghost is now my subordinate. He's similar to Little Demonin. He's a ghost talisman demon. If you have any problems, you can go to him. It's that male ghost. I named him Little Ghost. Xiao Chun said. There's also a woman. She's my friend. She's very kind. It's really a ghost? Su Chuxia was stunned. How is it, Chuxia? My guess is very accurate. It seems that Xiao Chong and I are telepathic. As expected of a couple. Tian Saori said proudly. I really admire you. Su Chuxia was a little speechless. But it doesn't matter. If you're bullied, you can let the ghost help you. I guarantee that they'll be scared to death. Xiao Chun smiled. Okay. Su Chuxia blinked. Ever since I met you, I've met all kinds of weird people. It's really amazing. However, I might have to leave. Xiao Chun said. Xia Zhili had already urged him to go back for a meeting to study Pangfengda and Wang Chake. He could use this opportunity to attack Song Billion. You're leaving so soon. Tian Saori was a little disappointed. If I knew this, I wouldn't have let you catch the ghost so soon. I have work. I still need to go to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Xiao Chun said. Saori, Xiao Chong has serious things to do. Don't keep pestering him. Haven't you guys already broken up? Are you done yet? Su Chuxia reminded. You're the one who broke up. We're just temporarily separated, okay? Tian Saori was not going to take it lying down. Right, Xiao Chong? Sort of, but I really have to go, Xiao Chun said. I'll leave in a while. In such a hurry. Su Chuxia knew that Xiao Chun would definitely leave, but she didn't expect it to be so soon. Yes, there are occasional things on that side. Xiao Chun nodded. All right then. If you're on vacation, come visit me when you're free. Sour really misses you. Su Chuxia nodded. I will, Xiao Chun replied. After bidding farewell to Su Chuxia and Tian Saori, Xiao Chun went to Tianfeng province. The car was temporarily left in the parking lot downstairs. It was too far to drive, so it was faster to fly. Of course, Xiao Chun could also fly on his sword, but it would be weird to be seen flying in the sky in broad daylight. In the afternoon, Xiao Chun arrived at Tianfeng province. After coming out of the airport, Xiao Chun was hailing a taxi. However, he did not expect that the number of taxis at the airport was very tight. There were no extra cars, and there was a long line of people waiting. Why are there so many people? Xiao Chen was slightly stunned, but he suddenly thought that the Chinese New Year had just ended. Many tourists who went out to play or returned to their hometown had returned. It was normal to have a large number of passengers. Although it was not impossible to run or fly to the headquarters of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, it was too shocking. Just as Xiao Chen was looking back and forth, someone patted his back. Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen was stunned. He turned around and found that it was Lan Xinxin. Then, Xiao Chen couldn't help but ask curiously, Lan Xinxin, how do you know me? My brother sent me a photo. I didn't expect you to be so handsome. Lan Xinxin said, I'm really sorry. Grandpa and the others brought you a lot of trouble, but they really didn't mean any harm. And speaking of which, it was me who broke you. I heard from my brother that you haven't been intimate with your girlfriend at home these days. Sai, it's all my fault. What? Xiao Chen was stunned. I didn't get intimate with her. In Wang Fontian's opinion, my thing is broken? What a wild imagination. Nothing. Let's not talk about this. By the way, do you want to take a taxi? Where are you going? Lan Xinxin thought that Xiao Chen was too embarrassed to talk about it, so she quickly changed the topic. She had also looked into this issue recently, but she also found that many men were more chauvinistic. Obviously, there was a problem, but they didn't go to treatment because they were afraid that others would look down on them. So in her opinion, Xiao Chen should be the same. He didn't want to admit that his thing was broken, but this made her feel even more guilty. She asked Wang Fantian about Xiao Chen's recent situation and found that Xiao Chen played with his sister every day. He didn't go to Tang Tang, so there must be something wrong with his body. Oh, I'm going to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, said Xiao Chen. Really? Aren't you the fake Yang Jiannan? How dare you go to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau? Aren't you afraid that they will arrest you? Lan Xinxin looked at Xiao Chen in surprise. Ugh, you have to keep it a secret for me. Xiao Chen realized that he had let it slip. He was now using his original face. Lan Xinxin nodded. You can rest assured that I won't say anything. Yang Jiannan was killed by me. I'm now pretending to be him. You won't harm me, right? Asked Xiao Chen. Of course not. I plan to take care of you for a lifetime. Why would I harm you? Lan Xinxin shook her head. Then I'll send you to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. It's difficult to get a taxi here. My own car is stored in the airport parking lot. That's troublesome. Xiao Chen didn't refuse. In fact, to be honest, he had a good impression of Lan Xinxin, a somewhat silly girl. This kind of unrealistic thing is just a thought. That's good. Xiao Chen smiled and said, I was really afraid that you would take it too hard and practice it. Haha, how was it? Did you have a good New Year? I have already collected evidence about what you said. I'm ready to make things difficult for you during the meeting. You cooperate with me. Xia Zhili ordered. No problem. Xiao Chen responded. The two of them walked to the conference room one after another. Song Bilian, Deputy Bureau Chief Zhang, and Ling Tian, the Deputy Bureau Chief, also came to the conference room one after another. The meeting had begun. However, at the beginning of the meeting, Xia Zhili threw out the heavy bomb that Pang Fengda and Wang Chake helped the Gao family to deal with the Qi family. It directly blew up the people present and made them at a loss. However, looking at the evidence documents that Xia Zhili took out, even Song Bilian couldn't find any reason to refute. He could only sit there with a gloomy face and say nothing. He didn't understand if his subordinate was out of his mind. Not only did he fail to do this, but he was also caught by Xia Zhili. This time, there was no hope for Wang Chake to be promoted to the leader of Team B. It must be known that Wang Chake was also a person who relied on him through Pang Fengda. During this time, he had been working to replace Wang Chake, but now everything was shattered. Song Bilian glanced at Xiao Chen and said faintly, Deputy Bureau Chief Yang used to be from Team B. Wang Chake is from Team B. Let Deputy Bureau Chief Yang speak on this matter. After all, Chake is also Deputy Bureau Chief Yang's subordinate. Chapter 739. Song Billian's words were actually a hint to Xiao Chen that as long as he could help Wang Chake get through this, he would get Wang Chake's full cooperation in whatever work Xiao Chen had in the future. Unfortunately, Song Billian had no idea that this matter was caused by Xiao Chen. "Oh, I heard about this when I returned to Songning. I think this Wang Chake is no longer suitable to hold an important position in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. He actually colluded with the Gao family's children to harm the Qi family's children. Although Xiao Chen had a hand in it, Xiao Chen and I have a personal grudge. I still support him in this matter. So I agree with Deputy Director Xia's suggestion to launch an investigation on Wang Chake. I believe this person must have done such things before," Xiao Chen said. Song Billian's face darkened and became even uglier. He did not expect Yang Jiannan and Xia Zhili to be on good terms again. Although the two of them had conflicts before, he did not know what they had reached in private. In any case, the two of them were echoing each other. "Well, in that case, let's vote. Those who agree to investigate Wang Chake, raise your hands," Ling Tian said. Then Xiao Chen and Xia Zhili raised their hands. "Good, 2 votes. Those who disagree, raise your hands." Ling Tian looked around. Only Song Billian raised his hand. Deputy Bureau Chief Zhang had always abstained. "Only 1 vote disagrees. So be it. Start an investigation on Wang Chake. As for Pang Fengda, he is also an accomplice. Although it is not a big problem, he still violated the rules. He will be kept on probation." Yes. Song Billian had no choice. He could not ignore Ling Tian's words. He could only accept it with a dark face. "Good. Since this matter is over, let's move on to the next topic." Ling Tian did not expect Xia Zhili to suddenly reveal this matter. Originally, he had called the meeting to talk about another important matter. In the martial arts world, there will be a Lunar New Year auction in a few days. At the auction, there will be an item that we need. The higher-ups have given us a mission to bring a team to bid for this item and bring it back to the research agency for research. Ling Tian's words caused an uproar among the deputy bureau chiefs. This mission was strange enough. It had never happened before. "May I ask what it is?" Xia Zhili asked. "It is a refining material called extraterrestrial meteorite. It can be used to forge weapons. It is said to be very sharp, but it has more research value. It is said to be a new type of metal. If we can get our hands on it, it will make great contributions to aerospace, weapons, and other fields," Ling Tian said. However, the Outer Martial World Auction is an auction that has been passed down for thousands of years. Even our Supernatural Investigation Department has no way of forcing people to hand over the materials. If you want to obtain it, you can only follow the rules of the auction and bid for it. "I see." Everyone nodded. Ling Chuanchen's long ass when didn't said, "What the higher-ups mean is that this matter is of great importance. So they asked one of our deputy directors to lead a team to the outer world of martial arts to bid for the auction. After the auction, there might be some martial artists who don't abide by the rules and kill them on the way. We must have an expert on our side, but at the same time, due to the strict inspection of the auction house, we can't bring firearms. If we bring those things, I'm afraid we'll be rejected at the door and won't even be able to enter," Ling Tian said. "Thus, one of us will be chosen to go. After we succeed, we will have to send the materials to Lon City's Military Technology Research Facility as soon as possible. Only then will this mission be considered complete." Previously, Deputy Bureau Chief Yang was involved in the Lon City incident. "I think it's better to let Deputy Bureau Chief Yang go this time." Just as Ling Tian finished speaking, Song Billian spoke up. He wanted to mess with Xiao Chen. From his point of view, this mission was full of danger. It was the martial arts world, and there were people trying to rob it. If he did not handle it well, he would lose his life. Since Xiao Chen did not know what was good for him, he would teach him a lesson. "What?" Xia Zhili was shocked. How could he not know the danger? If there was such a ridiculous mission in the past, it would be Ling Tian himself, or Deputy Bureau Chief Zhang. Xia Zhili and Song Billian would definitely not go. He did not expect Song Billian to say this. He was unhappy. Deputy Bureau Chief Song, you must be mistaken. The person in the Lon City Military Technology Research Institute was Xiao Chen. What does it have to do with Yang Jiannan? Haha, isn't Yang Jiannan Xiao Chen? This was caused by his own problems. In the records of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, he went under Yang Jiannan's name. Besides, Yang Jiannan was the newly appointed Deputy Bureau Chief. It was reasonable for him to go and gain experience. He couldn't just sit back and do nothing, right? Young people should travel more. It's not good for old people like us to participate in the auction. Song Billion said. Deputy Bureau Chief Ling, why don't we raise our hands to vote? All right. Those who agree with Yang Jiannan leading the team, please raise your hands. Ling Tian nodded. This time, other than Song Billion being the first to raise his hand, what was surprising was that Deputy Bureau Chief Zhang also raised his hand. Xia Zhili frowned when he saw this. However, he could understand why Deputy Bureau Chief Zhang didn't care. Now that this mission might be assigned to him, he had to participate. Otherwise, according to common sense, Ling Tian and Deputy Bureau Chief Zhang should go. All right, I also agree with Yang Jiannan leading the team. 3-2. This matter is decided. Ling Tian said. This made Xia Zhili feel even more uncomfortable. Previously, Ling Tian did not participate in the voting. However, this time he participated. It was obvious that he was unwilling to lead the team. He had the same thought as Deputy Bureau Chief Zhang. Since someone chose to lead the team, why not go with the flow? Are you guys bullying the newbies? Xia Zhili's face darkened. Hee, I'll go then. Xiao Chen saw that the matter was settled. It was useless to say anything more. Moreover, going to the martial arts world was a good thing. He also wanted to know more about the Quishan faction. Xia Zhili also knew that there was no way to change it. If he refused to carry out this decision, then Xiao Chen's position as Deputy Bureau Chief would be over. He had no qualifications unlike Xia Zhili, who could not act shamelessly. Xia Zhili was a person who was seriously injured for the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Whether he refused or not, others could not do anything to him. However, Xiao Chen could not. Although Yang Jiannan had performed many meritorious deeds before, everyone knew in their hearts that it was done by Xiao Chen, and not Yang Jiannan. Even if the current Yang Jiannan were Xiao Chen, it was useless if others did not know. In the hearts of others, Yang Jiannan was a newbie who had not done anything yet. He had no right to refuse anything. In that case, Song Huawu, Xia Shibin, and Wang Chake will work together with Yang Jiannan. Wang Chake will redeem himself by doing good deeds. Xia Zhili didn't mind scamming Wang Chake again. Going to the auction, there would naturally be some errand work. Bringing Wang Chake along was actually bringing along a lackey. If anything really happened, he could use him as a scapegoat. Song Billion did not expect Xia Zhili to make such a suggestion, but he could not refuse. After all, it was reasonable. He could only say in a low voice, Wang Chake is originally part of Team B under Deputy Bureau Chief Xia's jurisdiction. There is no problem with him cooperating. Then, let's leave it at that. Alright, the meeting is adjourned. Ling Tian made the final decision. Deputy Bureau Chief Yang, I will send you the relevant information about the auction later. When the time comes, you can choose to go. No problem. Xiao Chen nodded. After the meeting, Xiao Chen followed Xia Zhili back to the office. As soon as he entered the door, Xia Zhili began to flip out. This Song Billion is really wicked. He actually let you do such a thing. The relationship between our Supernatural Investigation Bureau and the outer martial arts world has never been too good. In the past, they could not do anything to us if we carried guns. Now that we cannot carry guns, it is very likely that something will happen to you if you go. Oh, people from the outer martial arts world would dare to openly attack people from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau? Xiao Chen was stunned. He did not think so much before. Now that he heard it, it did not seem to be the case. They definitely wouldn't dare to openly, but if someone robbed you afterward, they would definitely not expose their identity. When something happens to you, even if the Supernatural Investigation Bureau wanted to find the murderer, it would be a mess. There would be no way to start the investigation. We can't possibly investigate all the sects participating in the auction, right? We don't have that ability. Xiaozhili shook his head. So old Zhang also saw that this task was difficult. When Song Bilian recommended you, he and Ling Tian immediately agreed. I'll be careful. Xiaochen did not feel too afraid. After all, it was not the first time he dealt with the outer martial arts world. He had even killed many people from the outer martial arts world. When something happened, he would use Wang Chake as cannon fodder. Well, I can't say more. Everything depends on your luck and fortune. Xiaozhili picked up the 5 Poison secret book in the drawer and said, This book should be able to be auctioned for a high price. I have no use for it. You can go to the auction and sell it for some pocket money. It will not be a wasted trip. Oh, Xiao Chun was slightly stunned. This is originally yours. Take it. Xiaozhili saw Xiao Chun's stunned expression and could not help but wave his hand. Okay. Xiao Chun did not argue and kept it. As for whether he really wanted to auction it, it would depend on the situation. In fact, Xiao Chun was really not short of money, but Xiaozhili did not know and thought that Xiao Chun was very poor. By the way, Yang Jianan should have some assets. I will find a way to get them for you. I will open a new account for you and call it Yang Jianan. No one will suspect anything. Xiaozhili suddenly thought of something, so he said. Then I will trouble Deputy Bureau Chief Xia. Although Xiao Chun was not short of money, it was not good to refuse Xiaozhili's enthusiasm. Chapter 740. As he spoke, Xiao Chun's mobile phone received a mission message from Ling Tian. In fact, the content was very simple. On the 5th of next month, the Martial Arts Association would hold a spring festival auction. Cultivators above the level of martial arts master were eligible to participate. Each martial arts master could bring 3 to 5 followers. The followers were limited to cultivators, and there was no restriction on the level. Other than asking him to find a way to get the extraterrestrial meteorite iron, there was no other explanation. It was completely for Xiao Chun to improvise. However, it was understandable. The Supernatural Investigation Bureau should not have received an invitation from the auction. Everything they knew now was by beating around the bush. It was normal that they did not have much information. When the time came, Xiao Chun could only adapt to the situation. Xiao Chun showed the message to Xiaozhili and said, Right, Deputy Bureau Chief Xia. If I go to the auction, won't you give me the auction funds? Oh, you bid first, and then in the payment link, just transfer the money directly. Xiaozhili explained. You haven't experienced similar missions before, so it's normal that you don't know. Coming out of Xiaozhili's office, Xiao Chun called Song Huawu and Xia Shibin to the office. Hey, Brother Yang, you're back. Xia Shibin was very happy to see Xiao Chun. I missed you. Go to hell. Huawu can miss me, but what about you? Xiao Chun glared at him. Can't I, your little brother, miss you? Xia Shibin laughed twice. Song Huawu was also very happy to see Xiao Chun, but she didn't show it. It's good that you're fine. Don't worry too much about the mission. When we were in Lego Town, wasn't it also very dangerous? In the end, we were saved. You all know. Xiao Chun was a little surprised. He hadn't said it yet. How did Song Huawu know about the mission in advance? Of course, after the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's decision is made, they will also send us the mission in the form of text messages. Song Huawu said. It's just that I didn't expect that one day I would start to intervene in the affairs of the martial arts world. I used to act in the secular world. Yeah, it's quite exciting to think about it. Brother Yang, if we kill Wang Chake this time, can Sister Hua Wu take over the position of Team B's leader? Can I be the leader of Team C? Xia Shibin asked excitedly. It'll be a little difficult for Hua Wu to take over as team leader. Right now, the position of Team B's team leader is still in a difficult situation. It's also the result of the struggle between the various forces. Let her be the vice team leader first. Once she gets the credit, she'll be able to smoothly take over as team leader. Xiao Chun said. As for Team C, it's basically my and Deputy Director Xia's private territory. No one can intervene. He and I used to control it together, and no one else can intervene. As for Team B, he still needs to sort it out. It doesn't matter. I'm not keen on these things. I just want to contribute to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. But now the more I know about the inside story, the more disappointed I am. I didn't expect Deputy Director Song to be such a person. I used to think that he was quite good. Song Hua sighed. Although these things couldn't change her loyalty to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, she was disappointed with Song Billion. Actually, I used to think that Deputy Director Xia and Yang Jiannan were jackals of the same tribe. I even wanted to kill him together. But now it seems that he is a loyal person. At least he is much better than Song Billion. Xiaochen also sighed. Yeah, I used to be annoyed with him and Yang Jiannan. They always pointed fingers in front of me. But now we actually became his people. Song Hua nodded. I think it's quite good. I'm now following Deputy Director Xia and Deputy Director Yang. At least, I don't have to be Yang Jiannan's lackey like before. I feel quite happy. Xia Shibin said. By the way, this mission may be dangerous. Do we need to secretly hide our weapons near the auction? I'm afraid that even if we get the auction item, we may not be able to walk out. I've thought about this, but it's not very practical. Cultivators are very smart. How can there be no patrols in such an important place like the auction? How do we hide it, and where do we hide it? Once we're discovered, have you considered the consequences? Xiaochen shook his head and said, Think about it. If our guns were taken away by these martial arts people, how chaotic would it be? Not only would we have to bear the responsibility, but it might also cause chaos. That's true. Then Xia Shibin asked. We don't expose our identity as Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Just go to the auction as a rogue cultivator or a small sect. After the auction, leave quickly. Xiaochen said. If our identity is exposed, some martial arts people who are dissatisfied with our Supernatural Investigation Bureau are likely to take the opportunity to kill us. That makes sense. Xia Shibin agreed. We'll try to be low-key and mysterious, so that people can't figure us out. If they can't figure out where we came from, they will have scruples when they attack us. As long as we find a gap, we can leave. You guys pack up, and then inform Wang Chake. Let him prepare to be cannon fodder. Xiaochen laughed. Haha, I'll inform him. Xia Shibin had been suppressed by Wang Chake many times before. This time he could finally have some fun. After Wang Chake learned of this mission, he looked at the list of people who were going with him, and knew that he was cannon fodder. He also knew the contents of the previous meeting. Xia Jili impeached him and Pang Fengde at the meeting, but he had done it after all. He couldn't hide it even if he wanted to. The Gao family's master was still locked up, so he couldn't deny it. Isn't this Deputy Team Leader Wang? Xia Shibin wandered into Wang Chake's office. Ah, it's Deputy Team Leader Xia. Wang Chake quickly stood up enthusiastically to welcome him personally. He had to be enthusiastic. Now that Xia Shibin was obviously in cahoots with Yang Jiannan and Xia Jili, his backer, Song Billion, couldn't compete with two deputy bureau chiefs alone. Wang Chake felt that his days were getting harder. Today, he was used as cannon fodder, but Song Billion didn't even let out a fart. All right, we're going to carry out the mission together. You know that, right? Xia Shibin said lightly. I know. When the time comes, I hope Deputy Team Leader Xia will guide me. Wang Chake had to lower his head when he was under someone else's roof. Oh, you should prepare well. Prepare to die. Oh no, prepare to go. Xia Shibin looked like he had spilled the beans. He grinned and turned to leave. Hey wait. Deputy Team Leader Xia, don't go. Wang Chake heard that there was a problem. He knew that Yang Jiannan wouldn't let him go. Previously, when Yang Jiannan was the deputy team leader of Team B, he went against him. Now that he had become the deputy bureau chief, and was leading the team to carry out the mission this time, once there was a chance, he would definitely not let him go. Looking at Xia Shibin's words, he knew that Yang Jiannan had probably already discussed the plan, and was ready to use this incident to kill him. How could he not be afraid? Oh, there's something else? Xia Shibin pretended to be puzzled and turned around. Deputy Team Leader Xia, I was wrong. I did offend you and Deputy Bureau Chief Yang in the past, but at that time, I had no choice. I'm on Pang Fengde's side. I'm on Deputy Bureau Chief Song's side. We're from different factions. This is understandable. Wang Chake quickly explained. Why are you telling me this? What does it have to do with me which faction you're on? Xia Shibin asked. Deputy Team Leader Xia, give me a clear path. As long as you don't take the opportunity to kill me this time, I'll do whatever you want me to do. Wang Chake made up his mind and said while gritting his teeth. He really had no way at all. Song Billion had not looked for him since the end of the meeting, nor did he explain any countermeasures. Obviously, he had been abandoned. In fact, Song Billion really thought so. In his opinion, Xia Zhuili and Yang Jianan definitely wanted to kill Wang Chake, so he had already abolished this chess piece. What are you talking about? Why can't I understand? Xia Shibin looked at Wang Chake with a confused face. Wang Chake was a little disheartened. This was definitely the rhythm of wanting to kill him. However, maybe my boss Brother Yang can understand. I don't study much. It's better to let the knowledgeable Brother Yang listen to such esoteric words. Xia Shibin said. Yes, Deputy Bureau Chief Yang is a top student. He was still studying in Soming Second High School before. He will definitely understand. Wang Chake was overjoyed. It was as if he had grasped the last life-saving straw. He said with great anticipation. Please pass the message, Deputy Team Leader Xia. Oh, then I'm leaving. Xia Shibin was very refreshed. He could finally hold his head high. In the past, Wang Chake's eyes were almost in the sky. When did he ever speak to him in such a low voice? Xia Shibin turned back to Xiao Chen's office and told these words to Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen really didn't know whether to laugh or cry after listening. Who said that we want to kill him? Haha, he thinks so himself. Xia Shibin also laughed. After laughing, he asked, Right, Brother Yang, are you really not going to kill him? Using him as cannon fodder doesn't necessarily mean that we have to kill him. We can do it in the open and in the dark. We can let him go to the auction and secretly transfer the items to us. At that time, he will be the one being targeted. If someone really tries to rob him, we can only say that he is unlucky. Xiao Chen said, That's what I thought before. This is also not bad. Killing with a borrowed knife, but he is probably miserable. Xia Shibin felt that Xiao Chen's strategy was really a good one. In this way, they also reduced a lot of risk. However, from what you said, this Wang Chake is a coward. I'm afraid that he won't be able to accomplish anything and will only spoil things. Don't mess things up when the time comes. Xiao Chen was a little hesitant about whether to use Wang Chake or not. I have the same feeling. If he bites all of us out at that time, then we will be F***head. Xia Shibin nodded. Let's see. Xiao Chen was actually thinking about how to deal with Wang Chake. In fact, the best way was not to kill him, but to subdue him. After all, a person with some ability and strength was very helpful to Xiao Chen. Chapter 741. In particular, Xia Zhuili wanted to compete for the position of Executive Deputy Director. At that time, the number of subordinates directly determined his right to speak. If Wang Chake could be taken in, then Song Huawu would be promoted. Whether it was Group B or Group C, it would be decided by Xia Zhuili and Xiao Chen. At that time, it would be much more convenient. It would not be too difficult for Xiao Chen to recover his identity. Xia Shibin saw that Xiao Chen was lost in thought, so he left with Song Huawu to prepare. Early the next morning, Xiao Chen took Xia Shibin, Song Huawu, and Wang Chake to a business car. Wang Chake did not get a positive answer from Xiao Chen. When he got on the car, he was a little nervous. He sat in the car, very reserved and restless. He did not know if this action was his journey of death, but he did not dare to ask in detail. Xia Shibin drove the car and headed for the location of the Outer Martial Arts Circle auction. The location of the Outer Martial Arts Circle auction was actually not very far from Tianfang Province. It was at the junction of Tianfang Province and Dinan Province. There was a huge mountain range here that stretched endlessly. It belonged to the primeval forest within the borders of the Great Xia Kingdom. It had not been developed, and had also become the residence of these martial artists. This mountain range was called Martial Mountain in the martial arts world. It was the location of many activities in the Wuling world. When Xiao Chen and the others came here, they could not go up the mountain. There was only a paid parking lot at the foot of the mountain. This was not a tourist attraction. Usually no ordinary people came here. It was not known if there was a procedure for this parking lot. Anyway, there was a big sign saying, Willing Guild Paid Parking Lot. With this huge name, it was estimated that no vehicle would dare to come here without paying the fee. When Xia Shibin entered the parking lot, he was really shocked by the parking fee. 10,000 a day. Take the card and pay when you go out. The toll collector at the entrance of the parking lot gave Xia Shibin a time card. Xia Shibin put it in the car and felt a little heartache. 10,000 a day was really a sky-high price. However, Xiaochen had been cheated in the Hakanamada desert before. Now he was used to it. He shook his head and signaled Xia Shibin not to argue and just find a place. Xia Shibin could only listen to Xiaochen. Originally, he wanted to show his proof. There was also the power of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau in the External Martial Arts Guild. Maybe they could let him park for free. However, he was just thinking about it. Xiaochen asked him to hide his identity. If he was exposed because of this parking fee, it would not be worth it. Behind them, some cars also came in. Similarly, they all silently took their time cards. No one said much to the toll collector. After parking their cars, they got off and walked up the mountain. They didn't greet each other and were in a hurry, as if they were in a hurry to do something. However, what surprised Xiaochen was that the people he saw seemed to be the same as him. They were very careful and low-key, as if they were afraid of being recognized. Some of them even wore big sunglasses, scarves and caps, looking like private detectives. It seemed that not only Xiaochen was afraid of being robbed after taking photos, but other people in the external martial arts circle were also afraid of this situation. Looking around, the cars these people drove did not have any characteristics of sections. Even the license plates were taken off, so that people could not judge the location of the car and the sect of the people in the car. Also, like Xiaochen, the car had the license plate of Tianfang Province or Dinan Province. It should be a car rented here after arriving nearby. Xiaochen breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, the license plate of the car was Tianfang Province. He was afraid that others would recognize the number of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. So he deliberately asked Xia Shibin to change to an ordinary license plate, which was an empty number. Even if they investigated, they could not find out the owner of the car. Everyone put on your equipment, Xiaochen told Xia Shibin and others. Before, he was afraid that people would pay attention to him if he was too well armed. But now it seemed that people would pay attention to them if they were not armed at all. After listening to Xiaochen's words, everyone put on their equipment. In the blink of an eye, the four of them became almost the same as others. After getting out of the car, Xiaochen led the way in front. In fact, he was following the people in front of him. It was his first time here, so he did not know the route at all. Fortunately, his perception was relatively strong. The people in front were far away, so Xiaochen could also keep up. Brother Xiao, why do I feel that these people are thieves? Why are they sneaking around in a hurry? Xia Shibin pointed to the people in front of him, who were walking fast. Who knows? It's also my first time here. It seems that it is not very peaceful here, Xiaochen said. However, just as the two of them finished speaking, a few people rushed over from behind. These people were walking very fast, and they did not hide their strength at all. However, Xiaochen could feel that these people were martial masters, and there were no martial generals. How could they be so arrogant? Get out of the way, get out of the way! The person in front shouted as he ran. Some of the cultivators in front of him immediately moved to the sides, letting this group of people pass. What surprised Xiaochen the most was that these people did not disguise themselves. Instead, they showed their true faces. They even held their heads high and didn't mind being seen by others. Xiaochen quietly signaled everyone to move to the sides. Although these martial masters were not in his eyes, Xiaochen's purpose here was to bid for something, not to fight with others. After these people rushed past, Xiaochen continued to move forward. However, he deliberately slowed down his pace, waiting for the people behind him to catch up. Just now, he saw from the corner of his eyes that a cultivator in front of him could not dodge in time, and was pushed by the martial master who opened the way, causing him to stumble and fall to the side. When this person fell to the ground in defense, Xiaochen also saw his strength. Unexpectedly, he was also a martial master. In other words, his strength was not weak, but he still chose to retreat. This made Xiaochen very curious about the identity of this group of people. After a while, that person came up. He was also an armed cultivator, but compared to the others, his armor was a bit strange. He wore a mask on his face, which made him look quite different. "Brother, may I ask who those ruthless people are?" Xiaochen waited for him to come up, and then asked while cupping his fists. The masked man coldly looked at Xiaochen, did not answer, and continued to move forward. "Brother." Xiaochen was surprised, and then he chased after him. "Could it be that you are here to make fun of me?" The masked man finally became impatient. He turned his head to look at Xiaochen and said, "You are here to participate in the auction, but you don't know who he is?" Xiaochen's heart trembled. Could it be that this group of people is very famous? "All right, I am leaving. Don't think that I am easy to bully. It is true that I am afraid of them, but I am not afraid of you," the masked man said indifferently, and his body revealed the aura of a 5th-level martial master. "Brother, we are disciples of the sect, who came out to gain experience. This is also the first time we have come to this auction, so we really don't know." Xiaochen smiled bitterly and said, "How could we bully you? The few of us are brother and sister, and even if we combined our strength, we are not a match for you." "Oh." The masked man was slightly stunned, and he looked at Xiaochen and the others. Xia Shibin, Song Huawu, and Wang Chake hurriedly revealed their strength. The masked man realized that their strength was lower than his, so he believed Xiaochen's words and said, "So you are all disciples of the sect who came to gain experience. No wonder. I am sorry for what happened just now. I thought you were making fun of me." This person was very open-minded, and after listening to Xiaochen's explanation, he felt relieved. "It's okay. Our sect is here to let us gain experience. When we saw everyone move away just now, we also moved away. You know that although our sect is not weak, we are just newcomers." Xiaochen deliberately did not say where he was from, and only said, "Also, when you go out to gain experience, you have to keep a low profile. The sect does not allow your identity to be exposed." "I understand that." The masked man nodded and said, "I am from the Green Rock sect, and I am currently the acting sect leader of the Green Rock sect. However, don't you think I am doing badly?" "Brother, you are already a 5th-level martial master. How can you say that? You are much stronger than us," Xiaochen hurriedly said. "Sai, our sect is just a small sect. My master, who is the old sect leader, has been injured for many years and is bedridden. The disciples of the sect have all left and disappeared over the years. Anyway, seeing that the sect has no development, most of them have gone to find their own way. So even though I am strong, I still have to lower my head in front of many people." The masked man sighed and said helplessly, "Brother, with your strength, it will not be difficult for you to rebuild the sect in the future." Xiaochen said, "Forget it, I know my own situation." As if seeing that Xiaochen was really a newcomer who did not know anything, the masked man no longer guarded against him. "My name is Zheng Xinxiang. You can call me Brother Xiang." "Brother, you are treating me like an outsider." "Okay, then I will call you Brother Xiang. My name is Chang Xiao, and I am a 4th-level martial master." Xiaochen said, "Oh, you are at the 4th-level martial master." Zheng Xinxiang was a little surprised. "Then your strength is not weak, and you are a new disciple for training. Your sect is not small. These are all matters of the sect. Forgive me for not saying much." Xiaochen said apologetically, "It is okay, big sects have their own rules." Zheng Xinxiang did not mind and said, "Oh right, you should have heard of the sect of those people. They are from Genie sect." "Genie sect?" Xiaochen was slightly surprised. He had never heard of it. "You don't know?" Looking at Xiaochen's expression, it was obvious that he did not know. "In the past, besides the matters of the sect, I did not know anything else," Xiaochen said with a bitter smile. "That is true. Genie sect is a relatively big sect, and is one of the leading sects among the famous righteous sections. So don't think that those people who just pass by are about the same strength as me. We cannot offend them. These people are very overbearing. When small sects like us see them, we can only take a detour, Zheng Xinxiang said. Oh, since it is a famous righteous sect, why are they so overbearing? Xiao Chen asked. Famous righteous sects are only relative to demon sections. Not all demon sects will name themselves as righteous sects, Zheng Xinxiang said. Chapter 742. Oh, then your Greenstone sect belongs to? Xiao Chen asked again. Our Greenstone sect is in an awkward position. We used to be a righteous sect, but later we changed our main cultivation method and became a demonic sect, but the demonic sect doesn't recognize us. Zheng Xinxiang sighed. Now we don't know what we belong to. Anyway, the demonic sect doesn't like us, and the righteous sects don't accept us either. We can only survive in the cracks, which is why many disciples left. As they spoke, they had already walked to the middle of the mountain, but there were many people standing in front of them. They stopped not far away, and didn't know what they were doing. Xiao Chen and Zheng Xinxiang immediately walked over. Not far in front of them, there were a few people blocking their way. Looking over, they saw 3 black-robed men blocking their way. Some of the people who were blocked were allowed to pass after paying the money, while others were in a stalemate at the side. However, they had their choices. Xiao Chen and Zheng Xinxiang watched for a while. The people they stopped were all cultivators in disguise. As for those cultivators who were barging in, they respectfully sent them away. They didn't dare to say a word at all. There was more than one way up the mountain, so there were cultivators coming from other directions. Some people could pass smoothly, while others had to pay the money. Brother Xiang, what is the meaning of this? Xiao Chen had already guessed that it was just some people blocking the way to make a fortune, but he still asked. Oh, it's the horse gang. When he said the words horse gang, Zheng Xinxiang suddenly gritted his teeth. Brother Xiang seems to hate these people? Xiao Chen was stunned. Not really. After my master was injured, the horse gang robbed our Greenstone sect. Zheng Xinxiang gritted his teeth and said, but these people are originally a gang formed by some fierce bandits. Since ancient times, there has never been a lack of people from the underworld and horse gang. If we want to go, how much do we need to pay for the road? Xiao Chen asked. This kind of thing seemed normal to Xiao Chen. Didn't they see the high parking fees in the parking lot below? At least 1 million? Let's go and have a look. Zheng Xinxiang sighed and walked over with Xiao Chen. If you want to go, leave behind the money for the road. This mountain was opened by me, and this tree was planted by me. If you don't want to delay the auction, then pay up obediently. Of course, if you don't pay up, we won't show up in front of you. The leader of the bandits in black shouted loudly. May I ask how much money do you need? A shifty-eyed cultivator asked. However, Xiao Chen thought that this person was just a pawn. He only asked to let the cultivators who came later know the price. The auction this time is relatively grand, so the price of the road is slightly more expensive. The price is 100 million. The leader of the bandits said. What? 100 million? Such a huge toll caused the cultivators behind them to be shocked. Wasn't it a little too expensive? They were all from small sects and many of them were loose cultivators. Taking out 100 million at once would basically mean that they would not have any funds left for the auction. The cultivators who came earlier also shook their heads and smiled bitterly. They didn't want to stay here, but they really didn't have the money to go. 100 million was not something they could afford, so they could only stay here and see if there was any other way in the future. This is simply looting a burning house, Zheng Xinxiang said angrily after hearing this. His face was full of anger and unwillingness. Xiao Chen naturally knew that this was looting a burning house, but he thought that these people were relying on this to make a fortune. However, he saw that from time to time, some cultivators didn't pay up and just walked in with their heads held high. They didn't even give the bandits any face. He couldn't help but have an idea and said, those people didn't pay up. Why don't we do the same and break in? Will it work? To be honest, 100 million was not a small amount for Zheng Xinxiang, so he was a little hesitant. After pondering for a moment, he said, since Brother Chang said so, then we can only do this. If you want me to take out 100 million, I won't have any money, let alone buy medicine for my master. The only thing we can do now is to give it a try. It doesn't matter if we don't succeed, since we can't go in anyway. Everyone, take off your clothes and follow me in, Xiaochen said. Okay. Xia Shibin and Wang Chake were masters who could do whatever they wanted in the secular world. Usually which bandits would dare to rob them? At this moment, they couldn't hold it in any longer. Speaking of pretending to be arrogant, that was Xiaochen's strength, especially this kind of arrogant young master. In the blink of an eye he, who had restrained his aura, became a young master with arrogance written all over his face. If he were to say that he was the grandson of some big sex elder, some people would believe it. Get out of the way, get out of the way. Xiaochen roared as he constantly pushed aside the crowd in front of him and rushed towards a few bandits in big strides. Behind him, Zheng Xinxiang was like a follower, protecting Xiaochen. Then Xia Shibin and Wang Chake were the two servants. Song Huawu, of course, was the beautiful girl who accompanied Xiaochen to the auction. And the leader of the bandits was startled. Xiaochen's aura wasn't fake, but he looked a little unfamiliar. However, the strength of the peak of the fourth layer of Devil Master couldn't be faked, so he didn't stop Xiaochen. Instead, he silently gave his two subordinates a meaningful glance. Xiaochen was overjoyed. It seemed that he had rushed through. However, just as Xiaochen had passed, one of the bandits suddenly exclaimed, Aren't you Zheng Ruobi from the Green Rock sect? Green Rock sect? The leader of the bandits immediately looked at Zheng Xinxiang and recognized him immediately. Previously, when the Green Rock sect was wiped out, Zheng Xinxiang had resisted, but he had been beaten up. Zheng Xinxiang was shocked, and his liver and guts were about to burst. However, he forced himself to calm down and rushed forward with Xiaochen. Wait, stop right there. The leader of the bandits made a gesture, and two bandits immediately blocked in front of Zheng Xinxiang. Even Xia Shibin, Wang Chake, and Song Huawu who were behind him were blocked. Xiaochen had already rushed over, but now he had no choice. He could not ignore the people behind him. He could only turn back and said impatiently, Damn, who are you? You dare to block young Master Chang's way. Do you want to die? Young Master Chang. The leader of the bandits looked up and down at Xiaochen. He had never heard of any sect with a young master called Young Master Chang. As professional bandits, they were very discerning. They usually inquired about all the people in the big sects who should not be trifled with, but they did not remember anyone called Young Master Chang. Could it be a nickname? Does it mean that he is a very strong young master? Yes, I am the former acting head of the Green Rock sect, Zheng Xinxiang. However, I am now following Young Master Chang. Zheng Xinxiang had no choice, but the arrow on the bow had to be shot. He could only pretend to be arrogant and said loudly, This is Young Master Chang, right? It is not that I do not want to give you face. If you want to go over, you can, but you have to tell me your name, right? The leader of the bandits was not sure if Zheng Xinxiang's words were true or false, but he did not dare to make things difficult for him directly. Instead, he turned his head and asked Xiaochen, Is the name of the sect something that can be casually told to you? Xiaochen's heart sank. It seemed that he was being suspected. However, he could not lie blindly. What if he said something wrong? Since you are not willing to tell me, then I have no choice but to pay. Otherwise, how can I, pockmark Yao, live in the future? When the time comes, will anyone who says that they are Young Master Chang, Young Master Ming, or Young Master Lei pass? Pockmark Yao sneered. Obviously, he was not going to let Xiaochen pass. Since you want to know, I might as well tell you. I am from the Kuei Mountain sect. Xiaochen knew of a rather ruthless demonic sect called the Kuei Mountain sect. As for the demonic star sect and the extreme ice sect, Xiaochen did not know if the leader of the bandits would give them face. However, the Kuei Mountain sect was clearly a very powerful sect, so Xiaochen reported its name. What? You are from the Kuei Mountain sect? Pockmark Yao was stunned. Then he smiled and said, I am from the Kuei Mountain sect. I went over this morning. You said that you are from the Kuei Mountain sect. May I ask what your name is? Went over. Xiaochen's heart skipped a beat. He had not expected this. However, he remained calm and said, "That's impossible, right? Senior brother." And the others clearly came out later. How could they have gotten ahead of me? He did not know if this was true, or if Pockmark Yao was lying to trick him. However, his answer was watertight. It doesn't matter if they are your senior brother or not. If you report your name today, then I, Pockmark Yao, will naturally give you face. However, if you don't, hee. Pockmark Yao laughed. I, Pockmark Yao, am not doing this for nothing. If you don't pay up, then please leave. Since you asked, there's no harm in paying. My name is Cheng Mingqiang, Xiao Chen said. Cheng Mingqiang? This young Master Chang? Pockmark Yao was slightly stunned. He looked at his two subordinates and asked, "Have you heard of him?" No. Both of them shook their heads. "I'm sorry. I have to verify your identity. I suspect that you are lying to us. Of course, if you are not lying, then you can pass." Pockmark Yao said, Then what are you waiting for? Young Master Chang, my time is limited. Xiao Chen was not afraid of their verification. The Kuei Mountain sect really had a person called Cheng Mingqiang. Pockmark Yao took out his phone. This made people sigh. The horse gang had become modernized. He dialed a number and said a few words to the other side, mentioning Cheng Mingqiang's name. After a while, Pockmark Yao's expression changed. He hung up the phone and looked at Xiao Chen. He sneered and said, "Young Master Chang? Strong my ass. You are just the son of an ordinary disciple of the Kuei Mountain sect, Cheng Zhongfan. You are just a nominal disciple of the Kuei Mountain sect. How dare you call yourself young Master Chang? Since you are from the Kuei Mountain sect, I will give you face and not beat you up. If you don't pay up, then go back." Xiao Chen did not expect Pockmark Yao to be so arrogant. He thought that the Kuei Mountain sect was famous, and anyone from the Kuei Mountain sect could pass. However, these people did not give him face at all. However, at this point, it was impossible for Xiao Chen to pay up. There were only 4 people on his side. If they passed, it would be 400 million. How could he have so much money? Chapter 743. Even if he spent the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's money, when the mission was completed, there would be people who would use this matter to attack him and Xia Zhili. Therefore, Xiao Chen's face darkened. His eyes flashed sharply to Pockmark Yao's face. He shouted angrily, "That's old news. Young Master Chang, I'm a core disciple now. Are you not going to move aside? That's provoking the Kuei Mountain sect." Provoking? You're not qualified. What can you do if I don't move aside? The leader of the bandits was a level 9 martial master. He didn't care about Xiao Chen at all. Boom! Xiao Chen made his move without any warning. Dark flame palm. Pockmark Yao was caught off guard. He flew backward and drew a parabola in the sky. However, before he landed, Xiao Chen threw out his long sword. The long sword drew an unbelievable arc in the air and pierced into Pockmark Yao's chest. Uft! A muffled sound was heard. Pockmark Yao spat out a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground. He died with his eyes wide open. He didn't expect Xiao Chen to stab him from behind. He also didn't expect the Kuei Mountain sect to be so ruthless. The instant he was sent flying, he knew that he had underestimated Xiao Chen, who was also this Cheng Mingqiang. This person's strength was definitely not as simple as the peak of the 4th layer of the Demon Master. He was on par with him. No wonder he was able to skip ranks to be accepted as a core disciple. It turns out that he had some tricks up his sleeve. No wonder he was so arrogant. Generally, this kind of nouveau riche was arrogant and despotic. He already believed Xiao Chen's words in the air, and somewhat regretted making things difficult for him earlier. But now, he wouldn't let Xiao Chen off just like that. He was sent flying and suffered such a huge loss. He planned to get his subordinates to make trouble for him as soon as he got up. In the end, he died before he even landed. You're courting death. A mere bandit dares to obstruct my path? You're simply courting death. Xiao Chen sneered and said, "Let's go. I'll kill anyone who dares to obstruct us." The remaining 2 bandits stared at Xiao Chen in shock and took 2 steps back, not daring to say anything. The other cultivators who had been blocked also sucked in a breath of cold air. The leader of the bandits was a 9th layer martial master. Yet he had actually died at the hands of Xiao Chen. Furthermore, he had only used 2 moves, 1 palm and 1 sword. He had died with everlasting regret. Wasn't this young Master Chang a little too strong? Although the leader of the mounted bandits didn't expect Xiao Chen to make a move, it was obvious that he was able to instantly kill someone of a higher level with a lower level of strength. This was enough to prove that this strong young master was a ruthless person. Just like that, Xiao Chen left with Zheng Xinxiang, Xia Shibin, and the others. The other cultivators also wanted to follow, but they were stopped by the 2 bandits who had reacted. They were afraid of Xiao Chen, but they weren't afraid of these small sects and rogue cultivators. Moreover, although their strength wasn't as strong as Pockmark Yao, they were still 6th or 7th layer martial masters. The 7th layer bandit shouted, "What? Are you going to chase them away? Aren't you afraid of courting death? You guys attack together and kill them." Xiao Chen, who was walking in front, had an idea and shouted. These 2 bandits weren't good people. Of course, Xiao Chen wasn't a martial arts hero. He wasn't kind enough to help the martial arts world. However, when these 2 bandits returned, they would definitely report what happened here to the mounted bandit gang. If they found out that he wasn't Cheng Mingxiang, then it would be a big problem. After all, he had appeared with Yang Jiannan's face and didn't expect to be stopped. Pretending to be Cheng Mingxiang was a spur-of-the-moment idea, and it was too late to change it. "Yes, kill them," Xia Shibin shouted out reflexively. "They only have 2 people left, kill them." Wang Chake also shouted, pinching his throat. "Attack!" Someone within the crowd shouted out. Next, a large number of cultivators surrounded the 2 mounted bandits. They charged forward and started fighting. Punches and kicks were exchanged, and the 2 bandits were beaten to the ground. No matter how arrogant these 2 mounted bandits were, they would not be able to withstand a beating from so many people. Therefore, very soon there was no more sound. It was unknown whether they were beaten to death or not. In any case, it had nothing to do with Xiao Chen. He had already left. "Brother Chang, you're too impulsive. The mounted bandit gang is not to be trifled with," Zheng Xinxiang said worriedly. "You just said the name of your sect, and many people here heard it. When the time comes, the mounted bandit gang better not go looking for trouble. Although the Kuei Mountain sect is the #1 demon sect, it can't withstand a sneak attack from the mounted bandit gang." "Oh, I made up the Kuei Mountain sect. I'm not from the Kuei Mountain sect at all," Xiao Chen said. "Ah." Zheng Xinxiang was stunned, and then became even more worried. "You're pretending to be from the Kuei Mountain sect. Doesn't that mean you've offended the Kuei Mountain sect? Sai, you're too impulsive. When the time comes, the mounted bandit gang will definitely not let this go. What can I do? Turn around and leave?" However, Xiao Chen looked at Zheng Xinxiang. "Elder brother Xiang, I believe you understand that in the situation back then, if I didn't make a move, I could only return. As for taking out so many tolls, that's impossible." "Yes, actually, it's because I was recognized." Zheng Xinxiang smiled bitterly. "Otherwise, you would have already passed. I'm the one who implicated you." "Brother Chang, you're not a peak 4th grade demon master, are you? You can instantly kill a 9th grade martial master." "Yes, my strength is slightly higher. It's almost the strength of a demon general," Xiao Chen said. As expected, Zheng Xinxiang's expression turned serious. He quickly cupped his fists and said, "Young hero Chang, I'm sorry for not recognizing you. You're a demon general, so you're my senior. Thank you for your help earlier. Brother Xiang, I don't care about these superficial etiquettes. Let's hurry. There shouldn't be anyone who will harm us at the auction," Xiao Chen reminded. "Yes, I forgot. However, those mounted bandits should have been killed. There shouldn't be any trouble in the short term. Young hero Chang, if you've bought what you need, you should leave as soon as possible to avoid trouble," Zheng Xinxiang reminded. "Of course I understand." Xiao Chen nodded. As the 2 of them spoke, they continued walking up the mountain. The location of the auction was the peak of Wu Mountain. The scenery here was very beautiful, especially the higher they went. The more the mountain was surrounded by white fog. It was like a fairyland. At the peak of the mountain, there was a large hall. In front of the hall was a huge square. The mountain peak was flat. When people walked up, they suddenly felt a sense of enlightenment. Xiaochen saw that everyone was walking towards the hall. If there was no accident, that should be the auction venue. Xiaochen also brought some people to follow. However, the situation in front made Xiaochen slightly stunned. Martial sects register here. Loose cultivators pay the auction deposit here. One person 10 million. An auction staff at the entrance said to the people who came. This rule made Xiaochen feel a little dizzy. Why did loose cultivators have to pay the deposit to enter? Soon it was Xiaochen and Zheng Xinxiang's turn. Seeing that Xiaochen didn't say anything, Zheng Xinxiang said, "We are from Greenrock sect." Greenrock sect? Didn't they disband after being robbed by the horse gang? The gatekeeper heard it and said disdainfully, "According to the rules for loose cultivators, go over there and pay the money." Ah! Zheng Xinxiang's face flashed with anger. It was true that his sect was robbed and some disciples left, but it was a bit too much to say that it was disbanded. However, the situation was stronger than people. He suppressed his anger and could only nod and say, "Okay." Xiaochen wanted to use the name of Zheng Xinxiang's Greenrock sect to enter, but he didn't expect that the gatekeeper didn't give him any face. Of course, Xiaochen could also understand that these people were taking the opportunity to collect money. Naturally, the more the better. "You are together, right? Hurry up and pay the money." The gatekeeper looked at Xiaochen and said impatiently, "No, we are from a sect." Xiaochen naturally didn't want to pay the money. The four of them made 40 million. The auction hadn't even started yet, and 40 million was already in. It was really a scam. "Sect? Which sect?" the gatekeeper asked in disbelief. "We are." Xiaochen was about to say the Kuei Mountain sect, when he suddenly saw Qing Zhongfan in the hall of the auction hall. He was talking to a few people, who seemed to be from the Kuei Mountain sect. This made Xiaochen swallow the words that were on the tip of his tongue. They were so close, and the gatekeeper had a loud voice. It was hard to guarantee that Qing Zhongfan and the others wouldn't hear them. If they did, they would be exposed. At this thought, Xiaochen's brain worked quickly to think of a solution. However, before he could think of a solution, he heard someone behind him say, "Isn't that the people from the Kuei Mountain sect?" "She'll lower your voice. The leader of the horse gang, Pockmarked Yao, was killed by this person." Oh, this gatekeeper dares to stop him? Does he want to die?" The gatekeeper also heard the discussion behind him. His expression suddenly changed. The Kuei Mountain sect was very famous in the martial arts world. He quickly said, "So it's the young heroes of the Kuei Mountain sect. Haha, you can go in after registering." It was too late for Xiaochen to stop them. Qing Zhongfan was indeed attracted by the loud voice. When he saw Xiaochen, he was stunned. Wasn't that Yang Jiannan? He didn't know that Yang Jiannan was Xiaochen in disguise, but he knew Yang Jiannan's identity. Thinking of this, Qing Zhongfan walked over calmly and greeted Xiaochen with a smile. "Junior brother, what took you so long? Come in, come in." There was no hatred between him and Yang Jiannan. On the contrary, if he could build a good relationship with the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, it would be quite beneficial for him. Although the Cheng family had come to the Kuei Mountain sect, Cheng Mingqiang still had to return eventually. At that time, the Cheng family in the secular world would have to rely on the Supernatural Investigation Bureau for help. Therefore, when he saw that Yang Jiannan was obviously hiding his identity, he didn't mind helping him. "Haha, senior brother Cheng, it's you." Xiaochen laughed. When Qing Zhongfan heard this, he was very happy. It turned out that Yang Jiannan knew him. Therefore, he quickly said, "Junior brother, please come in." Chapter 744. With Qing Zhongfan's guarantee, the gatekeeper naturally did not dare to say anything. After all, Qing Zhongfan was a genuine disciple of the Kushan sect. The cultivators behind were not surprised to see this scene. After all, Xiaochen had previously said that he was from the Kushan sect, so it was normal for someone from the Kushan sect to welcome him. "Deputy Director Yang, why are you here?" Qing Zhongfan asked politely, after they reached a place with no one else around. "Oh, I'm here to carry out a mission." It's not good to expose my identity, Xiao Chun said in a low voice. Among the cultivators here, only Qing Zhongfan had been in the secular world and knew Yang Jiannan. The others naturally did not know him. I see. Cheng Zhongfan looked like he understood. If there's anything you need help with, Deputy Director Yang, just say the word. I won't hesitate to help. By the way, I have some things I want to auction here. Do you know where to go? Xiao Chun originally wanted to ask, but since he had an acquaintance like Cheng Zhongfan, he would not stand on ceremony. Oh, the Quishan sect also has some things to auction. It's just over there. I'll take you there. Cheng Zhongfan did not think there was anything wrong with this. After all, people who came to the auction did not necessarily have to buy things. They could also be here to sell things. Cheng Zhongfan led the way and brought Xiao Chun to the door of a room in the corner of the hall. He knocked on the door, and soon, a middle-aged man in staff uniform opened the door. When he saw that Cheng Zhongfan looked familiar, he nodded and said, "What's the matter?" "Oh, this young hero has something to auction here, so I won't disturb you." "Young hero Yang, you talk to him." Cheng Zhongfan did not follow him in and stayed at the door. Although he did not know what Xiao Chun wanted to auction, this kind of thing was very taboo. It was the same principle that the Quishan sect did not want others to know about the things they auctioned. After closing the door, the middle-aged man looked at Xiao Chun from head to toe and said faintly, "You're from the Quishan sect? Didn't you just send something to be auctioned? What, did you miss something?" Although the Kuei Mountain sect had a lot of influence, Xiao Chun didn't seem like an important figure. The middle-aged man was very busy, so it was only natural that he didn't want to see him. "Oh, it's like this. There's an item that we didn't want to auction because it's very precious. But after thinking about it, we decided to take it out." Xiao Chun didn't mind the middle-aged man's attitude. If you don't take out something good when doing business, how will the other party treat you well? Moreover, the Quishan sect had already been here once. Normal people would not think that there would be anything good here. That was why Xiao Chun pointed out that there was something valuable. "Oh." As expected, the middle-aged man's expression changed. His previous impatience was gone. Instead, he was filled with anticipation. "What is it? Take it out and let me see." "It's a mental cultivation method secret manual," Xiao Chun said. "This secret manual is called the 5 Poisons Secret Manual." "What did you say?" "The 5 Poisons Secret Manual?" The middle-aged man's expression suddenly changed. He stared at Xiao Chun in shock. "Is this really the 5 Poisons Secret Manual that has been lost in the martial arts world for a long time? Why is it in the Kuei Mountain sect? I don't think there's a need to explain the origin of the item to the auction house, right?" Xiao Chun was also a little shocked. Was this 5 Poisons Secret Manual something amazing? Why did this middle-aged man have such an expression? "I'm sorry, I lost my composure." The middle-aged man came back to his senses and said apologetically, "I'm sorry. There's really no need to explain. The auction house doesn't have such a rule that we must know the origin of the item. I'm just a little shocked. This is a secret manual that once set off a bloody storm in the martial arts world. It's actually in the Kuei Mountain sect." Hee. Xiao Chun smiled and did not reply. Instead, he took out the 5 Poisons Secret Manual. Although he somewhat regretted saying those words, he had already said them. It was impossible for him to go back on his word. He did not know that this 5 Poisons Secret Manual had such a great reputation and origin. However, Xia Zhili did not seem to know about it either. It seemed that this was a matter of the outer martial arts world. "This 5 Poisons Secret Manual is authentic?" The middle-aged man took it and wanted to flip through it. However, he found that it was sealed and could not be opened, so he asked with some doubt. This was sealed by Xia Zhili before. The purpose was to prevent the auction house from secretly looking at it and copying it. That would be meaningless. After all, the value of the secret manual lay in the words on it. Few people knew about it. If there were many copies, it would be everywhere. "This thing is up to the wisdom of the wise. I'll take it out for auction. If you believe it, you can naturally buy it. But if you don't believe it, there's no way," Xiao Chun said. "That's true. I'm too excited today. You're right. These things are up to the buyer to judge for themselves. However, I suggest that we still reveal the contents of the first 2 pages during the auction. Otherwise, it's very likely that there will be an awkward silence. The middle-aged man said. Of course, it will be opened during the auction. It won't be opened in advance. This is no problem. Xiaochen nodded and said. Everything will be arranged by your side. However, how much can this 5 poison secret manual sell for? This book can no longer be measured by its value. However, according to the financial resources of this auction house, it should be about 1 billion. The middle-aged man estimated. 1 billion. If Xiaochen knew this value before, he would be very shocked. But now he knew that this price was definitely low, because this secret manual was priceless. Fortunately, Xiaochen had a copy in his hand. Of course, if it doesn't reach the price in your heart, young hero, you can choose not to sell it. You can set a minimum transaction price. If it doesn't reach that price, we will return the item directly to you. We won't secretly check it. The middle-aged man said. You can rest assured about the reputation of our outer martial arts auction. It has been held for many years. It's impossible for us to embezzle the items of our guests. I naturally trust your side. Otherwise, I wouldn't have taken it out. However, try to sell it as much as you can. Xiaochen wasn't stupid enough to take it back. This thing would be snatched to death by others. Wasn't this looking for trouble? Xiaochen was now afraid that others would come looking for trouble after this. If there was a 5 poison secret manual, it would be safe. No problem. I will tell them. The middle-aged man nodded and responded. There is one more thing. Please keep it a secret. Don't say that our Quishan sect took it out, said Xiaochen. That's for sure. Unless the customer deliberately requests to say the information of the provider, we won't say it. The middle-aged man said. Right, young hero, is there anything else? No. Xiaochen shook his head. Then you should leave as soon as possible. If someone sees it, maybe they will think of something. The middle-aged man said. And then he gave a receipt to Xiaochen. This is the voucher. You can collect it later. Thank you. After Xiaochen put it away, he quickly left the room. Cheng Zhongfan was chatting with Xia Shibin at the door. Xiaochen didn't know what they were talking about. He listened and found that it was some unimportant things. On the contrary, Xia Shibin intentionally or unintentionally probed something. Haha, Mr. Cheng is overpraising me. I'm just taking over as the team leader of Team C. This is also thanks to Brother Yang's promotion. However, does your Cheng family still need my help? Didn't they all go to the Quishan sect? Team leader Xia is modest. My son Cheng Mingxiang will return to Songning City sooner or later. He came here just to gain experience and get the title of a registered disciple. When he goes back, he can also expand the Cheng family. Cheng Zhongfan smiled. So please take care of me, team leader Xia. Of course, no problem. Right, where's Cheng Minjing? Asked Xia Shibin. Cheng Minjing. Cheng Zhongfan was stunned. Haha, it's okay. I used to be her classmate. I think this girl is quite beautiful. I'm just asking. Xia Shibin smiled. Oh, it's good. She is practicing in our Quishan sect, but she is engaged to Yao Baoang. Of course, it is just an engagement. There is no substantial progress. When Cheng Zhongfan heard it, he suddenly regretted it. It would be great if Cheng Minjing married Xia Shibin. Xia Shibin would soon be the team leader of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's Team C. He would take more care of the Cheng family. At that time, it would be a great help for Cheng Mingxiang. So he immediately pointed out that there was no substantial progress between Cheng Minjing and Yao Baoang. If Xia Shibin was good enough, he could pursue it himself. But there was no way to ask for his help. It's a pity. I like her quite a lot. Xia Shibin was a little disappointed. But I'm only the deputy team leader of Team C. It's not enough. When I become the deputy bureau chief, I will see if I can bring her back. If you want to force it, the deputy bureau chief is not qualified. Cheng Zhongfan thought that Xia Shibin wanted Yang Jianan to help, so he explained. The Quishan sect has a backer in the martial arts world. If it were a small sect, the deputy bureau chief of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau would be a great existence. They would give him face no matter what. But the Quishan sect won't. unless it's the bureau chief of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. I see. Xia Shibin nodded calmly. I just said it casually. Hey, Brother Yang is out. Let's go for a walk first. See you at the auction. Okay, see you at the auction. Cheng Zhongfan felt that he had a good chat with Xia Shibin. When Cheng Mingqiang went back, maybe he could rely on them for help. Xiao Chen heard the conversation between Xia Shibin and Cheng Zhongfan clearly. He secretly nodded to Xia Shibin. This guy is smart. He knows to take the opportunity to ask what I want to know. When they walked to a place where there was no one, Xiao Chen said, there were some mistakes this time. The 5 poison secrets is a very important thing. Taking it out for auction now may cause some unnecessary trouble. Chapter 745. Xia Shibin also knew that this 5 poison secret book was found in the cultivation ruins together. His face suddenly changed. What should we do? We can only take one step at a time. Fortunately, no one should know that we took it out. Xiao Chen comforted. I heard what you said to Cheng Zhongfan. You did a good job. Coming to this auction, the only thing that comforted Xiao Chen was that he received the news that the miss was safe and sound. However, the strength of the Quishan sect also made Xiao Chen a little worried. Even the deputy director of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau couldn't negotiate with the Quishan sect. It seemed that their background was not ordinary. Xiao Chen still knew nothing about the internal martial arts world. Over there, Wang Chake stood far away and didn't dare to follow. He hadn't integrated into the small group of Xiao Chen yet. Without Xiao Chen's permission, he didn't dare to come over at will. He could only stop not far away and look around awkwardly, like a lookout. Fortunately, the auction should be about to start. Xiao Chen saw a lot of people walking to the entrance of the hall, so he waved to Wang Chake and quickly said to Xia Shibin, don't talk about other things first. It's more important to complete the mission first. Understood. Xia Shibin nodded. When Wang Chake saw Xiao Chen calling him, he was very happy. He trotted over with a smile on his face. Brother Yang, you called me? I came here this time to kill you. Xiao Chen's words made Wang Chake's face pale, but Xiao Chen ignored him. Instead, he pointed to the venue not far away and said, let's walk and talk. How could Wang Chake still have the mood to talk? He was a little shaky when he walked. He could only beg, Brother Yang, I was wrong. I was really wrong before. Don't kill me. It wasn't that he had no backbone, but Xiao Chen killing him was easy and pleasant. Didn't he see the horse gang leader, Pockmark Yao, was killed by Xiao Chen in one move? Oh, but you used to work for Song Billion. How can I trust you? Why should I let you go? Xiao Chen asked. It's not easy to get a chance. If it were you, would you give it up? Wang Chake put on a long face and said, I'm sincerely defecting. That old thing Song Billion has already abandoned me. Ever since I was chosen to carry out the mission with you, he hasn't contacted me. I'm completely disappointed. I can't return to his camp. You make it sound nice, but how can I believe you? Xiao Chen laughed. I have here some of the dirty things that Song Billion has done over the years, just like what I did to the Gao family and the Qi family before. But compared to him, I'm nothing. He has been plotting against others all these years. Wang Chake quickly said, I have evidence in my hands. Oh, do you have proof? Xiao Chen was stunned. This Song Billion didn't seem to be a good person. As far as he knew, Xia Zhili had never done anything to harm others except for his selfishness. However, this Song Billion had obviously surpassed this level. Also, Song Billion is actually a slave of the Song family in Wulin. Therefore, the Supernatural Investigation Bureau has turned a blind eye to him without any evidence all these years. Otherwise, he wouldn't have made any contributions, and he would have been taken down a long time ago. Wang Chake continued and said all the information he knew. Song Billion has a relationship with Wulin? Xiao Chen was a little shocked after listening. I've been with him for a long time. I heard him mention it when he was bragging to us after drinking. In fact, I don't know if it's true or not, but it should be true. Otherwise, Song Billion has no achievements. How can he be on an equal footing with Deputy Bureau Chief Xia Zhili? Wang Chake said, When Deputy Bureau Chief Xia was young, he used his merits to exchange for his position. He was a little willful when he was old. As long as he didn't do anything that would harm the interests of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, no one would care about him. But what about Song Billion? So I think what he said is 80% true. It turns out to be the case. Xiaochen nodded. How much evidence do you have in your hands? There are a lot. Wang Chake didn't hide it. I have saved it in the network disk. I will send you the account and password now. Brother Yang, you can transfer it. As Wang Chake said this, he took out his mobile phone and sent the message to Xiaochen. Xiaochen was a little surprised. He didn't expect Wang Chake to betray him so thoroughly. In this way, it was equivalent to completely falling out with Song Billion. No matter what he said before, it was all empty talk. But now there was evidence. Xiaochen was equivalent to holding his lifeline, and Song Billion could no longer accept him. Xiaochen directly logged into Wang Chake's network disk. Sure enough, there were some photos and audio recordings, as well as some text account books. These were the things that Song Billion had instructed him to do over the years, and some things that he knew. Xiaochen transferred these to his own network disk, and then patted Wang Chake's shoulder. When I'm not in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, go to Deputy Bureau Chief Xia's office more often. It's all the same. Yes. Thank you, Brother Yang. Wang Chake was overjoyed. He knew that Xiaochen accepted him. In fact, he didn't want to betray him even if he could. If Song Billion could protect him, then he definitely wouldn't betray. It was just that Song Billion completely abandoned him, so he had no choice but to protect himself. However, he also knew that even if Xiaochen accepted him, he wouldn't trust him too much. It could only be said that under the same circumstances, Xiaochen would still take care of Xia Shibin, and he could only be regarded as inferior at best. However, he was already very satisfied with this. This time, he thought that he was dead for sure. It was impossible for him to go back alive. Fortunately, he had too much evidence of Song Billion in his hands, which made Xiaochen keep him. Otherwise, if he had no value, why would he keep him? He brought everyone into the auction, and saw that Cheng Zhongfan had arrived from a distance. Xiaochen nodded to him, and Cheng Zhongfan was overjoyed. He thought that he had established a good relationship with Yang Jiannan. As for the others, Xiaochen roughly looked at them. Some were masked, and some were showing their real faces. However, most of them were masked. It could be seen that these people were still very careful. Xiaochen found an empty seat and sat down. It wasn't too close to the front, but this kind of place didn't need to be close to the front. It was fine as long as the auctioneer in front could hear the bid. Not long after he sat down, most of the people in the auction venue had entered, and the door was closed. Xiaochen did a rough count, and found that there were nearly 1,000 people in the venue. It seemed that after the two mounted gangsters were killed, the people behind them all came in. However, what surprised Xiaochen was that he saw Zheng Xinxiang again. Previously, Zheng Xinxiang was called to pay the deposit, and Xiaochen was lured in by Cheng Zhongfan. The two of them separated, and were very happy to see each other again. Brother Xiang, you're here, Xiaochen said with a smile. Yeah, young hero Chang, why aren't you with the people from the Quishan sect? Zheng Xinxiang was also a little surprised. He thought that Xiaochen would be with the people from the Quishan sect when he saw them. Oh no, didn't I tell you just now? I'm actually not from the Quishan sect, but on the surface, my relationship with them is a little complicated, Xiaochen said. Oh. Zheng Xinxiang was stunned, but he didn't ask further. This kind of thing was obviously not a good thing, and it was better not to know. I spent 10 million. That's the deposit, but it's not refundable at all. I asked, and they said that they're afraid that some loose cultivators with no money will come here to join in the fun, so they have to prove that they have the financial resources to participate in the auction. I think it's a scam. That can't be helped. The organizers probably don't dare to scam the money of the big sects, so they scam the loose cultivators and the small sects, Xiaochen said. Yeah, but it's not that they don't dare to scam the big sections. This auction has a very strong background. They probably have some business dealings with these sects, so they're just giving them face. If they really want to scam them, they don't mind, Zhang Xinxiang explained. I see. Xiaochen nodded. As they spoke, the auction began. An auctioneer walked up to the stage. It was a woman of unknown age. Her face was covered with a thin veil, but her face could not be seen clearly. However, her figure was very hot, and she should be the mature type. As soon as she came up, she attracted the cheers of many male cultivators below. Xiaochen didn't expect these cultivators to be equally lecherous. They would cheer at the sight of a beautiful woman. It was really the same everywhere. Those who didn't know better would think that this was an auction in the secular world. The woman was wearing a well-trimmed cheongsam, which further accentuated her beautiful figure, but not revealing any flesh. It was obvious that she was not here to sell her body. Every move she made exuded a mature charm. If one's willpower was not good, they would have lost their souls by now. However, Xiaochen wasn't such a shallow person. Putting aside the fact that his girlfriends weren't bad, even if he didn't have those girlfriends, with Xiaochen's temperament, he wouldn't be mesmerized by a masked woman. Young hero Chang, you don't seem to be interested in this woman? Zhang Xinxiang was a little surprised. Isn't Big Brother Xiang the same? Xiaochen smiled. I know myself. I know that I am definitely not worthy of her. I come from a small family. How can I afford to raise such a stunner? Even if I can afford to raise her, she will be snatched away by bad people. Zhang Xinxiang shook his head. But young hero Chang, you are different. You are strong and have a background. These men who are cheering are mostly young talents from various sections. That's why they are so unscrupulous. Look at those masked men, they basically don't speak. Even if they are envious, they are just looking at her. They don't dare to say it. Hee. Xiaochen smiled. This woman was indeed attractive. The mature auctioneer stood on the stage and gently waved her hand. The lights in the venue immediately dimmed. A few spotlights shone on the auctioneer's body, making her exquisite figure even more visually shocking. She suddenly became the focus of the audience. Chapter 746. Greetings, heroes and warriors. I am Xiao Fei, the auctioneer of this auction. Welcome to the Martial World Spring Festival auction. Xiao Fei's voice was very pleasant to the ears, but Xiaochen found it a bit awkward. It felt as if it was not her real voice. Her voice was pleasant to the ears, but it felt fake. As soon as Xiao Fei's voice fell, the audience burst into a warm applause. Obviously, everyone present was Xiao Fei's fan. Our Lunar New Year auction has been held 5 times, and this year is the 6th. Every year, a mysterious item will appear, and this year is no exception. Why don't you all make a guess as to what it will be? Xiao Fei deliberately kept everyone in suspense. She smiled and said, All right, let's cut to the chase. The auction officially begins now. Xiaochen looked at Xiao Fei and his heart skipped a beat. Could it be that the mysterious item was the 5 poison secret manual that he had taken out before? Thinking about the middle-aged man's expression at that time, it should be the case. Although he regretted it, there was nothing he could do about it. If he had known that the secret manual was so mysterious, he would not have taken it out. If someone wanted to investigate the origin of the secret manual, they would probably investigate him. That would be asking for trouble. The first auction item is a heavenly raven ginseng. As soon as Xiao Fei's voice fell, a staff member presented a box. The box was opened, and the item inside was shown to the cultivators present. Then Xiao Fei continued. Everyone knows what heavenly raven ginseng is. It is one of the main ingredients used to concoct body-tempering potions for martial masters. It is priceless and very rare. The first item of the auction was a rare treasure. It immediately attracted the cultivators present. Of course, only some martial cultivators were interested in it. Demonic cultivators were not interested in it because they did not need to temper their bodies. The starting price of this heavenly raven ginseng is 10 million. Each increment must be no less than 1 million. Alright, let the auction begin. Xiao Fei said. 15 million. As soon as Xiao Fei's voice fell, another voice sounded. However, it did not increase the price by 1 million or 1 million. Instead, it directly increased by 5 million. It was obvious that this person was rich. and was determined to get this heavenly raven ginseng. Otherwise, he would not be so heroic. However, he wasn't the only heroic cultivator here. As soon as this cultivator finished speaking, another voice rang out. I bid 20 million. Xiaochen felt that the voice was somewhat familiar. Looking towards the source of the voice, he realized that it was actually the arrogant young master of embroidered clothes sect that he had met on the road. It seemed that not only was this person arrogant, but he was also very wealthy. Is embroidered clothes sect opposing our steel leg haul? You clearly know that this thing is very important for us to cultivate our steel legs. Yet you want to snatch it from us? The first person who made a bid suddenly stood up. He was a bearded man, and his voice was very angry. Ha, what a joke. Naturally, the highest bidder wins the auction. You can't afford it, yet you're complaining here. Aren't you ashamed? The arrogant child sneered disdainfully. 30 million. The bearded man didn't say much and directly quoted the price. 40 million, young master arrogant said coolly. The first auction item had almost become a tool for these two people to fight. Naturally, no other sects and cultivators would participate in the bidding. First, the price was too high, so it was not worth it. Second, they didn't want to offend embroidered clothes sect and steel leg hall because of such a small matter. Both of them were big sects. 50 million. The bearded man slammed the table in front of him and shouted. Young Master Arrogant wanted to continue speaking, but he was pulled by someone next to him. Obviously, it was his fellow sect member. He felt that it was not worth it to increase the price, so he stopped him. Young Master Arrogant didn't dare to disobey this person. He said unwillingly, so what if I give it to you? I spent 50 million to buy this heavenly raven ginseng, and this thing is only worth 30 million. What a fool. If you can't afford it, just say it. Don't say that the grapes are sour when you can't eat them. Is it fun? The bearded man looked at young Master Arrogant with disdain. At this time, a staff member brought a card reader and asked the bearded man to swipe his card. The auction house was also afraid of people who didn't pay after winning the auction. This way they could prevent people from calling out random bids. Even if he wanted to raise the price, he would have to pay the bill if he lost the bid. After all, the auction house charged a 20% commission. Therefore, he had to think carefully before making a decision. Xiao Fei didn't seem to be affected by the tense atmosphere between the two sections. When the bearded man swiped his card, she still used her charming voice to say, the first auction item has given us a good start. Thank you, brother from Steel Leg Hall. When the bearded man heard this, he felt as if his bones were going soft. His eyes instantly turned into the shape of a heart. Originally, he was a little distressed about spending 50 million to buy the heavenly raven ginseng. But now he felt that it was all worth it. No matter how much money he had to spend, it was all worth it if he could get a compliment from a beauty and some attention. Haha, supporting Xiao Fei is our principal. The bearded man glanced at young Master Arrogant proudly. Motherf ***. Young Master Arrogant was so angry that he cursed. If he knew that Xiao Fei would pay attention to him, he would get her even if he had to spend 60 million. After all, there was no man in this auction who didn't want to fall under her skirt. Moreover, he could guarantee that although everyone was here to participate in the auction, it had become a custom to visit Xiao Fei every year. Xiaochen frowned slightly. This Xiao Fei really knew how to confuse people. With just a few words, she got a loyal supporter of the auction house. These men. However, Xiaochen sighed. He suddenly thought of himself. Wasn't he also a diehard fan of Shen Jingxian? Sai, who hasn't been young before. If the bearded man and young Master Arrogant knew that Xiaochen used such an old-fashioned tone to evaluate them, would they die of anger? The second auction item is 1,000 miles talisman. Xiao Fei waved her lotus-like arms gently in the air, drawing a beautiful arc. Her whole body seemed to be dancing. Coupled with her coquettish voice, it made people's hearts beat faster. Even Xiaochen couldn't help but have a slight reaction. Of course, it was purely a reaction of lust. He had to admit that Xiao Fei had already reached the acme of perfection in manipulating men's hearts. Following Xiao Fei's movements, another staff member carried a wooden box onto the stage. Then, She took out the item from the wooden box and displayed it. Everyone knows about the 1,000 Miles Talisman. This is a talisman refined by a talisman master. After using it, one can teleport thousands of miles away in an instant. It's a rare treasure for escaping or pursuing enemies. Xiao Fei opened her right hand and pointed at the 1,000 Miles Talisman. She glanced sideways and explained the function of the item. Her every movement was full of temptation, especially when she turned her body sideways. Her beautiful curves were revealed to everyone. Coupled with the spotlights, the waves of her chest made people's imaginations run wild. Although most of the men below the stage were head over heels for her, they couldn't help but be shocked when they heard the name of the 1,000 Miles Talisman. Martial cultivators were mighty figures from ancient times. Nowadays, whether it was the internal or external martial arts world, they no longer existed. Even if some Taoist temples still retain some of their legacies, they could only make simple talismans. For example, fire talismans, water talismans, etc., could be used to light a fire or light a cigarette. However, it was impossible to achieve more profound functions. Therefore, such ancient talismans were rare. In particular, talismans with very powerful functions were rare treasures. It should be known that once this item was bought, it could allow one to teleport thousands of miles away in an instant. If someone was chasing after them, it would definitely be a great escape weapon. Xiao Chen was also a little shocked and tempted. This was a good item. If he used the 1,000 Miles Talisman after the auction, wouldn't he be able to escape in an instant? However, he couldn't do it. If he ran away, what would happen to Xia Shibin, Song Huawu, and Wang Chaik? Moreover, this thing might not be cheap. It would be a waste if he used it for such a trivial matter. Sure enough, Xiao Fei soon confirmed Xiao Chen's thoughts. Everyone knows the function of the 1,000 Miles Talisman. The starting price is 30 million, and each increment must be no less than 10 million. It was indeed a high price. It was 3 times higher than the valuable Heavenly Crow ginseng. Xiao Chen directly gave up competing after hearing it. I bid 40 million. A voice sounded. It was a masked cultivator. His bid surprised everyone present. However, the auction was for the highest bidder. Why would a small sect or a rogue cultivator buy it? 50 million. Another voice sounded. It was a long-faced cultivator without a mask. He didn't say much after bidding. He just quietly looked at the 1,000 Miles Talisman in the hands of the staff member. Xiao Chen was a little surprised when he saw his appearance. The men here basically had their eyes on Xiao Fei. But this person only stared at the 1,000 Miles Talisman. He was a strange guy. 80 million. A voice sounded, shocking everyone present. Before, the price was increased by 10 million, but when it came to him, he directly increased it by 30 million. He was really rich. Looking in the direction of the voice, it was a man wearing a black bamboo hat. The hat covered him from head to toe. It was impossible to see his face clearly. Moreover, his voice was neither male nor female. Obviously, he had changed his voice. Even his gender could not be distinguished. At this price, Xiao Chen gave up the intention of bidding. How could these people from the outer martial arts world be so rich? Where did the money come from? The long-faced cultivator frowned, but he didn't say much. He directly said, 100 million. 150 million. The black bamboo hat said without hesitation. The long-faced cultivator was a little shocked this time. What was this person doing? Could it be that the purpose of this black bamboo hat was the same as his? Chapter 747. He wanted this talisman because he wanted to go back and study it, not to use it. His sect had some connections with Taoism. It was not an exaggeration to say that it was an evolution and inheritance of cultivators. However, apart from research, if he wanted to use it, spending such a high price was simply burning money. Although these people who came to the auction were the elites of the outer martial arts world, most of them represented the will of their sections. Although this talisman was very useful for saving one's life, if one spent so much money on something useless to the sect, wouldn't that be asking for a scolding when they went back? 160 million. No, 200 million. The long-faced cultivator hesitated for a moment, and directly said while gritting his teeth. 200 million was the limit he could bear. If he couldn't get it, then he could only give up. At this price, the previous competitors would no longer compete. Only the man with the black bamboo hat still said in a somewhat strange voice, 300 million. Hiss. When the people present heard this, they all sucked in a breath of cold air. This was simply burning money. One had to know that everyone could see that the long-faced cultivator was putting up a final struggle. As long as the bid was 210 million, this black bamboo hat could be won easily. However, he directly bid 300 million. This was really a case of being rich and willful. Wasn't he too rich? However, although they were shocked, no one bid again. Even the long-faced cultivator smiled bitterly. He knew that he had not lost unjustly. The other party's financial strength was really too strong. 300 million going once. 300 million going twice. 300 million going thrice sold. Xiao Fei gently picked up the small hammer and hit it. She stretched her arm forward, revealing her exquisite and curvy body again. The sound of swallowing was endless. However, at this moment, Xiao Chun looked at Xiao Fei with a strange expression. He was already used to the 300 million for a talisman. But for this Xiao Fei, he seemed to have a sense of déjà vu for a moment. However, it was only for a moment, and then he had no impression. He had not participated in any other auctions, so he should not have seen this Xiao Fei. Moreover, such a stunner exuded temptation with every move. Xiao Chun felt that he should not forget her if he had seen her. The staff took the card reader and the long-distance talisman to the man with the bamboo hat to complete the formalities. The man with the bamboo hat seemed to be very straightforward. He directly swiped the card and then kept the long-distance talisman. The auction continued. Xiao Chun closed his eyes. He didn't dare to be interested in the other items in this auction. Of course, even if he was interested, he wouldn't be able to afford them. The prices of the items in this auction were heaven-defying. However, listening to Xiao Fei's voice was a pleasure. His purpose in coming here was to bid for the extraterrestrial meteoric iron. When the time came, he would fight with all his strength. But to Xiao Chen's surprise, the big-bearded man, the arrogant young master, and the long-faced cultivator all continued to participate in the battle. On the other hand, the truly wealthy man in the bamboo hat seemed to have no interest in the remaining battles. He closed his eyes in contemplation, but there was not the slightest hint of enjoyment on his face, as if he were about to fall asleep. It seemed that this person was either a woman or a cultivator with a firm will. She was immune to Xiao Fei's charming voice. The next auction item is a 1,000-year purple snow lotus. Xiao Fei's voice made Zheng Xinxiang, who was next to Xiao Chun, suddenly tremble. It was not that he liked Xiao Fei, but this 1,000-year purple snow lotus was exactly what he needed. His master was seriously injured and needed a 1,000-year purple snow lotus as medicine. However, this thing was very rare. He had asked around and learned that it would be sold in this auction, so he came to participate. Otherwise, in such a high-standard auction, the Greenstone faction would not participate in the fun. Why would they come if they didn't have money? The staff of the auction showed the 1,000-year purple snow lotus in the box. Zheng Xinxiang's breathing was a little rapid. Xiao Chun opened his eyes and looked at him. He asked, "Do you want to buy this?" "Yes, my master needs this medicinal herb." Zheng Xinxiang nodded. "Everyone has seen it. The starting price of this 1,000-year purple snow lotus is 20 million. Each increment must be no less than 10 million. Xiao Fei smiled and said, "Everyone please bid." 30 million. Zheng Xinxiang said directly. 50 million. A voice sounded, and Zheng Xinxiang was shocked. He did not expect someone to compete. He had limited funds. If the price was too high, he could only miss it. 60 million. Zheng Xinxiang had no choice but to bite the bullet and bid. 80 million. The voice continued to bid. It was actually the long-faced cultivator. 100 million. However, before Zheng Xinxiang could make a bid, another voice rang out. It was a middle-aged man with a pale face and no facial hair. He was not wearing a mask. Instead, he casually sat there. Clearly, he was also from a large sect. Smiling Mithriya, "You are doing this on purpose, right?" The long-faced cultivator's expression changed and asked angrily. We the joyful clan need this thing for dual cultivation. What's wrong with that? The person called Smiling Mithria said indifferently, as if he was not afraid of the long-faced cultivator. From their conversation, these two people's sex should have some conflict. Otherwise, they wouldn't be bickering here. Very good. 150 million. The long-faced cultivator shouted. 200 million. The Smiling Mithria looked at the long-faced cultivator with a smile. Oh, then I'll give it to you. Did you forget that I don't have that much money? If you have more than 200 million, I will buy the 1,000-mile talisman. The long-faced cultivator laughed. Are you stupid? You spent 200 million on something that is worth tens of millions. Anger flashed across the Smiling Mithria's face, but he still maintained his smile. I am willing to spend money to make Xiao Fei smile. What's wrong with that? The Smiling Mithria said indifferently. If you can't afford it, just say that you can't afford it. Haha, up to you. The long-faced cultivator laughed and did not speak. On the other side, Zheng Xinxiang was secretly complaining. This time, he had only brought 250 million. Previously, when he entered the shop, he had spent 10 million, so he still had 240 million left. Now it seemed that these two people were fighting and had suddenly raised the price. It would be very difficult for him to get that 1,000-year purple snow lotus. When he saw that the horse-faced cultivator had given up, he was overjoyed. Thus he hurriedly called out, I offer 210 million. Senior Smiling Mithria. It just so happens that I'm here to take over. Please let me have it. The Smiling Mithria looked at Zheng Xinxiang with a smile. No one could tell what he was thinking from his face, but in fact, he was calculating in his heart. He made the bid to argue with the long-faced cultivator, but now that the long-faced cultivator had given up, it was useless for him to buy it. At this moment, it was a good thing that someone wanted to buy it, but the bad thing was that this person actually said that he wanted to buy it. This made the Smiling Mithria very angry. If you said that you wanted it, just bid directly. Why did you say it out loud? Aren't you saying that I don't have money? The Smiling Mithria usually cared about his reputation. Since he had said it out loud, he could not let it go. He said coldly, 250 million, what do you mean? Why do you want to buy it? Can't I eat it myself? That long-faced guy said that the grapes were sour because he couldn't eat it. Did you take it seriously? Zheng Xinxiang was stunned. He did not expect things to turn out this way. Sigh. Xiaochen could not help but sigh. This Zheng Xinxiang was still too inexperienced. Although there were shameless cultivators, there were also some who wanted to save face. This Smiling Mithria was such a person. He knew that Zheng Xinxiang said this out of kindness, but this kindness seemed to be almost like charity. How could the Smiling Mithria accept it? 200 million. Zheng Xinxiang wanted to bid again, but he immediately thought that he had no money. He could only shut his mouth resentfully, but he was not willing. He gritted his teeth and turned to look at Xiao Chun. Young hero Chang, can you lend me some money? I can if it's tens of millions, but I don't have any more. Xiao Chun had a pretty good impression of Zheng Xinxiang, but he really didn't have any money right now. The 5 Poisons secret manual hadn't been auctioned yet. His own money was the money he got from Cheng Zhongfan previously. Okay, thank you. Zheng Xinxiang immediately had confidence and bid. 260 million. 300 million. The Smiling Mithria smiled insincerely. Kid, do you want to go against me too? Zheng Xinxiang complained. He seemed to understand that he shouldn't have said so much before. If he didn't say it, maybe this Smiling Mithria wouldn't continue. But if he said it, this person would definitely compete to the end, because he wanted to save face. However, 300 million was not enough even if Xiao Chun lent him tens of millions. He could only give up helplessly. No, senior, I don't dare to do it again. The Smiling Mithria looked at Xiao Fei proudly. Xiao Fei, no one else is competing, right? Hee big brother smiling face, this 1,000-year-old purple snow lotus is yours. Thank you for supporting Xiao Fei. Xiao Fei smiled and nodded lightly to the Smiling Mithria. The Smiling Mithria was very satisfied. He waited for the staff to come over, and swiped his card to keep the 1,000-year-old purple snow lotus. Although this thing was bought to fight with Horseface, and it was not useful for the time being, it did not mean that it would be useless in the future. However, what made him angry was that something that could be bought with 200 million was interrupted by Zheng Xinxiang. In the end, he had to pay an extra 100 million. After the staff left, he lowered his voice and asked a joyous clan disciple next to him, "Who was the person who bid against me?" "Marshal uncle, please wait a moment. I will go and investigate." The disciple nodded and responded, then went to inquire. Not long after, the disciple came back and said, "It was the acting leader of the Greenstone sect, but the Greenstone sect no longer exists." "Okay, I got it." The smiling Mithriya remembered this name. What he hated the most was people who humiliated him. In his opinion, this kid said that he wanted to take over in front of so many people. It was obvious that he looked down on him. The auction was still going on, but Zheng Xinxiang was a little dispirited. He sighed and said, "Young Hero Chang, I'll be leaving first during the halftime break. Since I can't buy what I want, there's no point in me staying here." You're tuning in to the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.